Cool Figure TV. Revolutionary salute. Revolutionary salute. Like, share, subscribe. Welcome to the House of Revolution. You know I'm your humble host, the Yamin of Revolution. Word the moms. Word the parents of Nolan fake friends on the boat. But before we get into that, y'all be sure to wipe y'all feet. That means hit the like button. You in the House of Revolution. Like, share, subscribe, support the platform, y'all. Will salute. Revolution is a way of life. Revolutions for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I got some revolutionary breakfast for y'all. Let's get right to the content. Salute.
To talk.
Salute.
Remember how we have been talking about this Nolan Wells case, and we said that there had to have been adults on that island when Nolan lost his life. Let's be clear, Nolan did not drown. Nolan was murdered, okay? And this is a cover up. Well, we have the names of two parents. One admitted to being on the island, and then it looks like Skeletor Warren. Yeah. Looks like his mother actually was on the island.
It is, you guys may obviously have more information. Were people uploading, I know we talked about the service issue, but were people uploading onto social media?
I mean, you could.
Not really. No.
You could be
realistically. You could.
You could if you want to sit. If you're motivated enough to do it, yeah. Like I made a phone call to my mom, and I had to call her like 8 times before she picked up.
I'm just wondering, why did he need to call her 8 times? Like, what had happened that you needed to call her 1 time, 2 times, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? Did someone die?
Because either her service was bad, she was on the back side of the aisle.
Wait a minute. Did you just say your mother was there? Okay, we got to rewind this. Hold up, buddy.
Where it is, you guys may obviously have more information. Were people uploading, I know we talked about the service issue, but were people uploading onto social media?
I mean, you could.
Not really. No.
You could be.
Realistically, you could.
You could. If you want to sit, if you're motivated enough to do it, yeah. Like, I made a phone call to my mom, and I had to call her like 8 times before she picked up because either her service was bad, she was on the back side of the aisle on the south side, or my service was bad, and it was just hard to get through. But like if I
wait a minute. Did he just admit that his mother was on the island? Now, let's get into it. This is a post that Katie Hudson, who is Warren's biological mother. Now, she already admitted to being on the island, but we don't know if she was actually on the island all day. We don't know if she witnessed everything, but she did tell us that she brought her other son out there, and I saw my son Warren briefly, and they took a picture. So she basically said she was there for 10 minutes. I said this from the beginning. That seems like a lie. You go all the damn way out to Horn Island for 10 minutes. I don't believe she was there for 10 minutes. But in Warren's interview, his lion-ass interview, this is why I love that they're out here doing these interviews, which is making us understand why we believe what we believe. Okay. Now, the criminal ass judge, okay, who is out here, started intimidating witnesses, intimidating the public. On July 7th, she made this post. And if you guys have not filed those complaints against her, I'm going to show you how later when I go live. On July 7th, Miss Ashley Cole releases this statement. And let's get into what she had to say. Our family, along with the community, grieves the loss of Nolan Wells. The lies. Our thoughts and prayers are with the Nolan family. Our son Warren loved Nolan dearly. We can't tell. Unfortunately, I feel that it is appropriate for our family to dispel some rumors with facts based upon the social media attention that is being diverted away from the Wells family and their loss. Well, do you not think it's being diverted when your Skeletor son is going on interview after interview as if he was a celebrity? Yes, I deactivated my Facebook. Given the heightened emotional state of social media right now, I fear for the safety of my child and children, but yet your son is going on interview after interview after interview. We got it. My husband and I have 6 children and we covet their privacy, but they're all over social media. Okay, liar. We do not believe it is appropriate for our minor children's photographs to be circulated throughout the internet. Well, ma'am, stop posting them. You know what I don't do? Post people on the internet that I don't want others to take their pictures. Duh, you are a judge, but have simply no damn brains, okay? We do not believe it is appropriate for our minor children's photographs to be circulated throughout the internet, presenting potential threats to their safety. Well, you should stop posting them. Dumb. I graduated high school with Christine Wells Wansley. Do you all know how many people I graduated high school with that are not my friends? I just know of them. You said that to say what? We are from the same community. You are not from the same community, but she wants you all to think this. I have the utmost respect for her and all the Wells family. I bet you do. As long as your son with the Skeletor face don't go to prison. We mourn the loss of Nolan with them, but you didn't show up for the funeral. Our prayers have been and will continue to be with him. My husband and I were not at Horn Island at any point on the 4th of July. Well, you know what, y'all? Maybe we just got a hearing problem. Let's rewind this shit because she said, my husband and I were not at Horn Island at any point on the 4th. But remember, Warren's mammy said she was only there for 10 minutes. So if she was only there for 10 minutes, how does that make sense? Because Warren said she was on the other side of the island. So again, more lies. But you know what? I'm willing to listen again because I do forget stuff. So let's just listen to it again.
We have more information. Were people uploading? I know we talked about the service issue, but were people uploading onto social media?
I mean, you could.
Not really. No.
You could be
realistically, you could.
You could if you want to sit. If you're motivated enough to do it, yeah. Like I made a phone call to my mom, and I had to call her like 8 times before she picked up because either her service was bad, she was on the back side of the aisle,
She was on the back side of the island. That's exactly what he said. So who's lying? I believe they both were there. I don't trust or believe anything Ashley Cole says. In my opinion, she should be arrested. She should be one of the first people to be arrested. To be an officer of the court and run around and tell lie after lie after lie, then try to intimidate people with your raggedy ass judge position is totally sad. Now let's get into one other thing. One thing that could have exonerated all of these rumors in the beginning, okay? Everyone has a camera, and we learned that because a good old white lady, the type of white people that I like, this lady decided to go to Horn Island because she's sick of the racists too. Now, it's a shame for a white person to be sick of the white racists, but I digress. One thing that would have dispelled a lot of rumors is right here. The camera footage from the home. Do you all wonder why they never showed us the camera footage from the home? They showed us the camera footage when they left to go to Horn Island. I just have a question. Why in the hell do we need the camera footage from when they left to go to Horn Island? Was there ever a dispute that Nolan did not go with them? So why would we need that? But you know what they never provided? They never provided the footage from when they returned. Then they show all of these videos and say, hey, Nolan wasn't on this boat. Do you see him? Well, somebody else did the video, and that boat is deep as hell. We wouldn't see him if he was laying on the floor of the boat. And also, if you watch that fake ass video that they refuse to provide the metadata for, it doesn't even line up with the actual call. If you listen to the call, and then if you watch, like, look at that picture that they're seemingly posting to try to make us think that this is what was going on the boat. You know, when the boat was being towed, we took a picture, and it's like, who in the hell takes a picture during a time that you think that you're going to sink? It makes absolutely no freaking sense. But you know what else doesn't make any sense? What we hear on that CETO call, it just doesn't line up. When you hear the CETO call, you hear panic, you hear a lot of things going on in the background. But you know what happens when you watch that damn fake ass video that they post? They look very calm. It just doesn't match anything. So how in the hell do they come up with a video of them looking perfectly, they don't even look in distress, okay? But yet we listen to the CETO call and it just doesn't line up. Nothing lines up. You know why it doesn't line up? Because it's fake. It was orchestrated and it was staged. Just like I said in my previous video that I did, every time something comes out about this case, they go and find something to dispel it. Give you an example. The CETO call comes out, and then all of a sudden they find these unknown as supposed fake ass witnesses that say, well, we saw Nolan at 6:00. These alleged fake ass witnesses, of course, they know each other, but that's pretty much all they can tell us. So you're telling me that on an island that was packed, only 2 people saw Nolan at 6:00? If you think it's some bullshit, it's because it is. But as I stated before, let these liars keep lying, because all they're doing is making it harder for them to get out, because they're going down. And like I said before, not only are they going down, their mammy is going down. So which mammy is he talking about? Is he talking about Katie, his biological mammy, or is he talking about his step mammy?
There it is. You guys may obviously have more information. Were people uploading? I know we talked about the service issue, but were people uploading onto social media?
I mean, you could.
Not really. No.
You can be
realistically, you could.
You could if you want to sit. If you're motivated enough to do it, yeah. Like, I made a phone call to my mom, and I had to call her like 8 times before she picked up, because either her service was bad, she was on the back side of the aisle on the south side, or my service was bad, and it was just hard to get through. But like, if I went and posted a video on,
yeah.
Club Fright Plus News. I'm John Alba. Breaking news coming out of Mississippi. It appears that the family of Nolan Wells and their representatives are showing growing concerns with how parts of the investigation of Wells' death is being handled by Mississippi DA Angel Myers McIlrath. In the last 72 hours, it appears that exchanges have been made by the DA and Wells' representatives on a follow-up regarding the investigation of Wells' phone, along with body parts not presented for Wells' independent autopsy. If you can recall, when this story first broke, Wells' mother, Christine Wansley, would reveal early concerns with Nolan's phone appearing to have messages deleted due to not detecting any social media activity in his phone within 24 hours after he went missing, once it was recovered from Wells's friends. Because of this, Wells's family and their attorney, Benjamin Crump, would agree to do a joint investigation of the phone with the DA. Now, according to a new email sent out by another one of Wells's family representatives to McIlrath, they would end up calling out the latest move by the DA in an unreleased email they would receive that demanded they turn over the phone within a 48-hour period while they were not in Mississippi, which looks to go against what was originally agreed upon. In the email sent by newly appointed attorney Ahmad R. Smith, it will go on to read, Dear District Attorney McIlrath, thank you for your correspondence dated August 12, 2026. As Mississippi counsel for the Nolan Wells family, A.R. Smith Law will serve as the primary point of contact for the legal team so communications with your office can be coordinated efficiently. We agree the examination of Nolan's phone was discussed during the July 15th meeting that our team undertook to follow up concerning that process. During that discussion, however, we agreed to a jointly coordinated forensic examination of the phone that would include the use of the digital forensics lab at Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College, as well as FBI involvement. Subsequent correspondence with your office reflected our continued willingness to proceed through a mutually agreeable procedure. Additionally, Mr. Hertz contacted you on July 25th while traveling abroad and indicated that he would reconnect upon his return. Accordingly, our prior correspondence with your office should not be understood to suggest that our legal team had been unwilling to facilitate a forensic examination of the phone. To date, Nolan's parents remain willing to facilitate an appropriate forensics examination of Nolan's phone, including FBI involvement, according to our agreement on July 15th. However, your letter sent to Eric Hertz on August 12th at 12:51 p.m. set a deadline for the Wansleys to deliver the phone to your office by August 14th at 9 a.m. This is not practicable for a number of reasons. First, the date and time you proposed provided less than 48 hours notice. Moreover, the Wansleys were outside Mississippi when your letter was sent and are not scheduled to return until after the deadline you unilaterally imposed. Second, the parties never agreed to simply deliver the phone to your office. Instead, the agreement was that we would set a mutually agreeable date and time for the phone to be examined together by your office's forensic professionals, our forensic professionals, and possibly the FBI as well. Third, the parties have not yet agreed upon a forensic protocol addressing, at a minimum, the scope and method of the examination, chain of custody, preservation of the forensic extraction, access to resulting forensic data, treatment of information outside the agreed scope, retention of the extraction, and return of the device. We are prepared to promptly address those logistics so that the examination can proceed while preserving the integrity of the evidence and the interests of all concerned. Please send us your proposed protocol as soon as possible. As soon as the protocol is agreed on, we will be able to schedule the forensic examination of phone immediately. With respect to the independent investigation, the legal team has reviewed the tips received and has followed up with the persons whose information appeared relevant. At present, that process has not identified additional witnesses whom the legal team reasonably believes possesses information germane to potential criminal activity that warrants referral to your office. We continue to follow up and vet these potential witnesses. At present, the family is not requesting that any additional document, recording, photograph, digital media, report, or other material in the legal team's possession be submitted to the grand jury. This response should not be understood as representation concerning privilege, confidentiality, attorney work product, expert, or other protected materials, nor as undertaking a continuing production obligation beyond what the law requires. Regarding Dr. Mitchell, we appreciate that you will make available Nolan's body parts that were not previously sent to Dr. Mitchell. As reflected in your July 29th correspondence, your office previously stated that Dr. Mitchell would have an opportunity to examine Nolan's complete body in advance of any grand jury testimony. At this time, Dr. Mitchell's requests that you provide 3 available dates in which he can examine the body parts that he was not able to access. We are prepared to move that process forward promptly through counsel. Thank you for following up with us regarding the threats and intimidation against Nolan's family. We have collected information from the family and will be sending that information to your office in the near future. The family and legal team remain committed to a careful and complete investigation of the circumstances surrounding Nolan's death. We believe the most productive path forward is focused, documented cooperation on matters that will materially advance that investigation while preserving the integrity of the evidence and the legal rights and obligations of everyone involved. Now, as mentioned, this is the latest correspondence sent by Wells's family and is in connection with a previous email sent by them pushing back on any accusations that they were withholding to submit Nolan's phone for examination. On August 10th, conservative investigative journalist Sarah Fields would drop a story on Wells's family not handing over the phone in question. Fields' report will go on to say, according to a credible source with a close proximity to and knowledge of the investigation, more than 30 days after the death of Nolan Wells, his mother, Christine Wells Wansley, has allegedly not surrendered Nolan's cell phone to authorities. This is the same cell phone that became a major point of speculation almost immediately after Nolan's disappearance and death. Christine herself made Nolan's cell phone a significant part of the public suspicion. Initially, Christine said Nolan's phone was not with him on Horn Island. According to her own account, the family tracked the phone using Life 360, determined that it was back on the mainland, and had a family friend retrieve it from a friend's house. Christine then publicly discussed what she and her sister found, or more importantly, what they didn't find, when they went through Nolan's phone. She said they checked both of his Snapchat accounts and found no photos or videos from that day, because less than 24 hours had passed and Nolan was someone who normally took photos and videos while out with friends. Christine suggested that content must have been deleted. Those statements helped fuel multiple conspiracy theories and unverified rumors surrounding Nolan's phone and what may or may not have been removed from it. Now, as noted in Smith's email and mentioned by Crump during a press conference last month, they never agreed simply to hand over the phone, but instead agreed to look at the phone together on an agreed date.
We also agreed that we would have a mutual inspection of the cell phone with our experts and their experts. Attorney Eric Hertz is helping lead the investigation team with former law enforcement experts who are going to help us with the cell phone download. So everybody will be able to see at the same time.
For those who have been following the day-by-day updates, Wells's family has not been shy to express their lack of complete trust in Mississippi officials involved in the case. Hence why they are requesting to investigate Wells's phone together with everyone present. As you should know, current information gathered in the connection to the investigation by local law enforcement and Mississippi officials has been kept secret, including Wells's first autopsy results, which may give reason as to why the DA could be attempting to examine Wells's phone independently. But this appears to now have only added concerns to Wells's family and those following the case. As of this report, it has been 43 days since Wells's mysterious disappearance on July 4th, in which his body would be found 2 days later washed ashore on Horn Island in Mississippi. Let's talk about it more in the comments below. Do you think Wells's family should submit his phone to help move along the investigation, or should they continue to hold their position?
What is your thoughts on that phone call to Cito? Some people have gone out and done enhancements to the audio, and in doing that, created a transcript manually. It doesn't appear that the transcript was derived from an automated system or have any, in my opinion, real integrity with it.
Hey, hold on a second, guys. Off the break. Officer Tatum, it doesn't sound to me like you wrote this. Sounds to me like somebody put this together for you. Maybe it's that attorney that's sitting right over there, allegedly. Tired of this guy. No, but he don't talk like that. Who the hell told him all this shit, this script he's reading from? Did y'all listen to this dude? This dude is a defense. He's trying to act like a bootleg defense attorney. That's what he is. A bootleg defense attorney. That's my opinion of him. I can have that opinion of him.
Have any, in my opinion, real integrity with it. What are your thoughts, first, you guys, on the audio, and then I'll get to you, Ed, on could that be a defamatory area the way it was produced? So what do you guys think about that audio?
Posted that clip of all of us on the boat, you know, as it's rolling, not rolling, but right there sitting in the water. Wyatt's on the phone with Cito in that clip. I mean, he's on the phone. Wouldn't you think that you would have seen Nolan on the bottom of on the floor or something, or scrambling around, or everybody in a small space on the boat looking at him or something? I mean, it's just so crazy to think that. Why would we call Cito if we have a dead body on the boat? I mean, why would we call the Coast Guard? You know, why would we do the things we did if we know we killed somebody? And then another following up on that is,
man, what kind of question is that? This was a bad idea. And I know, look, here's the deal. Family, you cannot, first of all, people are suspicious of you. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Take it from a black man. Man, it's like this. Somebody ended up dead. Everybody's looking around wondering who did it. You guys were there. Some people think it was you. So what? That's how life is. Okay? Something you can do about that. I'm just wondering, why are you on Officer Tatum? If you want to go somewhere with credibility, you need to go somewhere with somebody who's unbiased. You went to Stephen of Django. You went on his show to prove you weren't racist. To prove, you know what I'm saying? That's crazy. You know, so that lawyer guy over there should have told you that shit. He's sitting there co-signing it, which boggles my mind. It's like preaching abstinence at a strip club. You get what I'm saying, fam? It's like, this is the wrong venue to do any of this. Makes this a complete sideshow. It's bogus. It's a circus.
why aren't we in jail yet? I mean, we're not geniuses. There's no way we could have done a murder.
That's what she said. He said, why aren't we in jail now? Have you looked at yourselves in the mirror, sir? Have you looked at yourselves in the mirror? See, this is what I'm saying. Fam, we live in completely different, not just worlds, solar systems. There ain't been a black man on this planet. Okay, let me rephrase that. There hasn't been a black American in America who's ever said, hey, obviously I didn't do nothing, I ain't in jail yet. Because he knows the moment he says that, the next second he'll be sitting in a jumpsuit.
In jail yet? I mean, we're not geniuses. There's no way we could have done a murder. I mean, there's no way we could have covered it up, especially out there with that many people.
Man, this is just horrible.
Revolutionary salute to our queen, Yaya's Kids, for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a real life. Absolutely appreciate the love, queen. Salute.
Son, this is just horrible. This could not go worse. These are all my opinions, right? I can still have opinions in America, even if this white guy's on trial, right? Just checking, because I heard him on a list of people to be sued because I talked about the story. I didn't accuse these 4 guys of anything. 3 guys. Just because I talked about it and say, we want answers to what happened. You think I don't want answers if it's found out that this was not a murder, that this was an accidental drowning? You don't think I want the answer to that? Yeah, I do want the answer. The answer means I want the answer. I want it to be investigated. I want evidence to be presented. I want to be able to look at it and say, I'm not one of those people that still thinks Tupac is in Brazil.
There's no way we could have done a murder. I mean, there's no way we could have covered it up, especially out there with that many people. Go ahead.
He said there's no way we could have covered it up, especially with that many people. I mean, typically when we kill people, it'd be a lot less of us around. You know what I'm saying? We wait till it's dark out. Fam, the fact that they didn't come get you right after this interview says everything that we need to know about privilege. The sheer fact that this guy is not sitting in jail right now being pressed by like 3 detectives, beating him with phone books, trying to get a confession out of him, proves everything I've been saying about white privilege when it comes to the justice system. Yeah, you may not be born with a mansion and a yacht or a silver spoon, but you are born with the presumption of innocence. Your skin color, by virtue of your skin color alone, people in your position are presumed innocent. And by the virtue of my skin color, regardless of the facts, the situation, the environment, or what's logical or what's simple, what's complex, what's evident or whatever, what evidence may be presented, there is an automatic predisposition to say, he did it. That's why people hit the locks on their door when I walk by. That's why old white lady clutch her purse on the elevator. Get it? There's a presumption. So you don't have that presumption. And I know you.
So LeBron James just put $100,000 up for forensic evidence uncovering the hidden group chat. So LeBron just put $100,000 up to dig into the forensic evidence that they thought they was going to be able to cover up. So I'm gonna have to make a whole nother video just saluting LeBron, because that's what we was waiting on. See, that's what's going to break. If these athletes with this a large amount, once you get to the millions in rewards, them people going down, bro. That's a fact. And that's all we needed was the boule motherfuckers to get on code for a second and put their money where their mouth at. So we know LeBron is the boule, but we need that 100,000 to that motherfucker forensics too to crack this case.
You have to understand. No, maybe you don't. Let's keep going. Let's see what Warren's going to say.
I think, especially about the Cito call, I think people, regardless of who it is going to believe what they want to hear. I think half these people, or not half these people, but some of these people you can't convince, regardless. They're going to believe what they want to believe. If they want to believe that my friends and I had something to do with Nolan dying, then they're going to believe that regardless of what you...
They don't want to believe it. They can't help but believe it because they know America's incredibly racist. And just because you don't believe that it's incredibly racist doesn't mean it isn't. You live in a historically incredibly racist state. You may be different, but that's how it looks. Okay? And so presumption, people think something bad happened, something nefarious took place. But then, we got wackos that are going to think all types of crazy. They're going to think Martians did it. There are people that think someone black killed them just to make you look like you did. Do you understand what you're dealing with online? I agree with you in the beginning when you say that people are going to think what they want to think. That's true. But here's the thing. Considering where you are, considering the environment at the time, the situation that took place, considering one person just doesn't come home, of course everyone looks suspect. You don't think if you were black guys, people wouldn't be thinking you did it or had something to do with it? We would. We would be thinking that. We'd be thinking, what happened? There was a story. Look, folks, and I hate when I do this because I know, it makes the video longer, but remember the sister that went to Mexico or whatever with her girlfriends? She was a black woman, went with her friends. It was all black. And when she didn't come home, what did we think? We think, what did they do to her? Okay, so this bullshit that Officer Tatum is spewing is making it seem like the only reason why we think it's you is because you white. That's not true. We would think anybody with him, we would look everyone suspicious until we find out who did it. That's just natural.
But you put out, Brandon, that a clip of the boat when Wyatt was on the phone with Cito, and it is boldly clear that Nolan was not on the boat with us. You can literally almost see down to the deck. And as you can see in that picture, everybody is completely casual while Wyatt's on the phone with Cito. Yeah, we were scrambling around trying to get the boat fixed, but the guys were, in the video, you can see me, I'm sitting on the bow. If there was someone dying on the boat, why would everybody just be sitting there waiting to either get towed in or what?
Man, this is horrific. If someone was dead there, we wouldn't be just standing around unless we didn't give a shit. Unless we were high. Unless we were faking for the cameras. Dude, you can't win this. By doing this, fam, you will never disprove a negative. How do we know you don't have, a motive? It's crazy. I can't believe the lawyer's sitting there. Like, this is a good idea. In my opinion, lawyer, this is a horrible idea.
It's
terrible idea.
He gonna make plenty of money.
If these were black kids, they'd all be in jail right now for doing this dumb shit. They'd be like, be quiet. Don't say nothing. Hide. And these guys all have money. They got families. Why are they doing this? Mom and dad should have said, stay your ass at home. We ain't got nothing to say. Disconnect your internet and take a break for the next 6 months until they figure this shit out. And that's it. But we have to clear our names. We got to go up here on the Brandon Tatum show, which no one respects. No one respects Brandon Tatum. Charlie Kirk's family don't respect him. Turning Point don't respect him. Then they cut ties with this dude. They didn't even let him come to the funeral. That's how much they respect this guy. And you're going on his show because you think he's the perfect platform to go on and talk? Nah, man. Nah, go on Good Morning America or some shit. CBS or ABC or Fox. And even all of them are suspect too. How about this? How about this? How about do nothing? How about do nothing? How about talk to the cops when they ask you, and when they stop asking you, fuck them. Yeah, how about that? How about that's the advice I would give my son? We ain't talking to nobody about nothing except our lawyer. That's it. That's all. Finito. Unless the state has charges for you, there ain't nothing to talk about. Right? Because the public opinion is BS. The court of public opinion is just like X or Twitter. It's not a real place. There are people that believe the earth is flat. Yeah. So, fam, what you gonna do?
In the first place, like Jack said, why would Wyatt call Cito? It's crazy. The reason we turned down Coast Guard is, why would we call Coast Guard if Cito could pull us in? But we fixed the boat and we ran into Fort Bayou, and that's it. The Cito call was completely enhanced, and these people just want to believe what they want to hear. And that's exactly what they're doing. So it's just crazy to me that people have tried to twist this and twist the audio. When we came out with the first interview, it debunked half these lies, and now you don't hear about any of it. You don't hear about the pool party because it was on June 27th. You don't hear about anything else that was mentioned. Thousands of lies. And now, the audio comes back, and all of a sudden we can hear Nolan yelling in the background, screaming, we're screaming about how he's dead. That's just a complete lie. And it's another lie to push this narrative that people don't want to turn down. It's insane to me.
It's proven in evidence that they're all lies. I think that most of these people are just going to, I say most of these people, a lot of these people that have posted stuff out there, they've just been lies backed by no evidence. And if I had one thing to say to them, I'd say, do your research before you go out saying something that's not true, that could hurt someone. Just do your research. I mean, it's easy. All you have to do is just scroll like they do all day long and find the evidence that's right in front of their face.
Out thinking, but at the end of the day, it just looks really stupid on their page and whatever they're posting on. But it's just sad. Like, people really take the time out of their day to post a bunch of BS lies on a bunch of 19 and 20-year-olds who have never done anything to hurt anyone and, you know, loved their friend. Like, I love that man more than anybody. And like, so did all of my friends. And it's absolutely horrible that these people want to come on and push this narrative that we had something to do with this or we killed our best friend. It's just sick to me, Brandon. And that's it.
Yeah.
Well, this might be too long, but I have a few things I need to add. First of all, with respect to Warren, if you just murdered your best friend.
Oh, God. Hey, man, every time you say that, every time y'all say kill them or dead or murder, every time you say that, man, it just makes my heart sink. It's not comfortable. It leaves a horrible feeling in the psyche of people that are listening to this. I know I'm not alone in that. Fam, I cannot talk about my best friend this way. I cannot talk about his death this way. Sort of, kind of flippantly, nonchalantly, like, if we killed him, I mean, we would do a better job. It's just, I can't be the only one who feels this way. And I cover this type of content. I've been covering this type of content for a living for over a decade, right? So this is my first rodeo. You know what I'm saying? So I've been through this a lot, and I have never heard anyone talk like this about a deceased person. You know, I've covered some crazy cases, not like this. If you guys didn't have anything to do with this, I still say you should not be doing all this talking. I think people are benefiting from the talking. You are just feeding the algorithm and feeding the talk. And I'm only covering it because it's a major story. I started covering it. I'm going to keep covering it. I ain't going to cover every little nuance. If there's new evidence or new facts that need to be addressed, then I will address them, which I have done. And that's it. I'm not accusing anybody of committing anything. How would I know that? How would the hell would I know who did what? But saying this is suspicious. I'm going to let this guy finish out, guys. We're almost done on this segment. Let's just hear what this lawyer is going to say.
The dumbest thing you could do would be to call the Coast Guard, to call a federal law enforcement agency and tell them, hey, can you guys go out and check out this island and look for Nolan Wells? Well, that's exactly what Warren did. Warren called the Coast Guard.
And yeah, but here's the thing, dude. What if you knew he wasn't on the island? See how easy that is? Get it? You know what I'm saying? So like, fam, we live in a world where people do all types of disgusting, inhumane things to one another. That's where we live. And to pretend that's not where we live, to operate as if the way you see these young men is the way that the rest of the world sees them, and you know them, so we know them. No, man, that's not how it works. And we have people that off their entire families and then call the cops and say, I don't know what happened. It happens every day, and you being a defense attorney, you should know that. So is it crazy for people to go like, I don't know if I believe him? I mean, have you watched any court TV, any crime TV, any real, I'm not talking about movies, I'm talking about real life stuff where this type of thing goes on, where people make up scenarios and lie all the time. That's it. I'm done, man. Horrible choice, in my opinion, to even do this interview with this guy. The people that you are convincing are the people that already believed you. And the people that don't believe you, you just giving them more ammunition to not believe you. But what it does do successfully is it makes a paycheck for various journalists, for people, content creators, to make more content. And if you can make hundreds of thousands or thousands of dollars off of this, why would they not do that? Why would they not do it? And it's not personal. They would do that with anybody. They would do it. When Kobe died, people had conspiracies. The first time I saw this done was Paul Walker, when he crashed in the car. And I was livid. I was brand new to this. And I was like, damn, man, why are people making up stories about what happened to him? Like it was a sacrifice. a ritual. Fam, this is the world we live in. All right? This is the world we live in. Folks, let me know what y'all think about this segment, what you think about this Officer Tatum. I already kind of know what you think about him. I think it's horrible what he's doing. He's exploiting this. He's acting like he cares about, I really care about these kids. And they need my defense. They need me. To do what? Make them look guilty? When Officer Tatum is the only guy standing up saying, I got your back, that means you got nobody.
Next up with Tim Black.
On the Elliott Connie show. And he had a lot to say. Said it with his chest, but all the way out. What I want to know is, where was that same aggression when he was on the Nancy Grace show? Remember how meek and mild and polite he was? Obedient, one might say. Yeah. When Nancy Grace would chide him, he would go very quiet, very obedient. Yeah. Where was that version of Officer Tatum when Nancy Grace challenged his views? This is what I want y'all to do, fam. I want you to check out this video I'm about to play, and I want you to compare the tone, the interruptions, the facial expressions, the volume, and the willingness to not let the host speak on his own show. Okay, here we go.
Give them both fair weight as if these are good faith attempts to present information. You have to then rely on your personal experience to say
that is, you keep saying that. That is not
weighs
accurate.
More. I mean, I think that's the way people, you can't, like,
well,
for
I'm
instance,
going to tell you.
For instance, I have never experienced racial encounters on the police department ever by any of the officers. Most of the officers that I know that work in primarily black neighborhoods, on the I lean more towards believing what he's saying because that's also my experience.
Due to time, I have one more question I'm going to ask you, so we're going to move on to a different subject. But I am going to make this point about research. I am a consumer and producer of research.
Hold on, fam. I got to go back to that. I got to go back. I got to hear this again. I think he just said, did this man just say he had never experienced racism on the police force?
I mean, I think that's the way people, you can't, like,
well, I'm going to tell you.
For instance, I have never experienced racial encounters on the police department ever by any of the officers. Most of the officers that I know that work in primarily black neighborhoods.
That man know damn well he lied. And if you believe him, you need to get checked out. And I forbid you to have babies. I forbid you to procreate if you believe what he just said.
On the Georgia police officers, I mean, I actually mentored one of them. They are saying the same thing, that dude, majority of our encounters are not racist encounters. My white colleagues are not racist against black people. It's a rare thing to happen. So all of the people I know, all of the experience I have, when I look at the two data points, objectively, I'm saying that I believe in the Harvard study, a professor who was who did an incredible study, who balanced and weighed all of the data. I'm saying that I lean more towards believing what he's saying because that's also my experience.
Due to time, I have one more question I'm going to ask you, so we're going to move on to a different subject. But I am going to make this point about research. I am a consumer and producer of research. My entire field is based upon evidence-based research. I have to read it constantly to do my work. So if I read a study that says something like a particular therapeutic intervention is useful, and then another study that says that same particular therapeutic intervention is not useful, you are making the argument that I have to go on my own lived experience. But that is not true. Hold on, I'm making a point, and then we're moving on to the next topic.
Okay.
You're making the argument that now I have two contrarian but credible research studies saying different things. So now I have to rely on my own personal experience. And the truth is, I have to go into the study and say, how many subjects did they have?
We're not to that point. I'm not saying an illegitimate study. I'm saying two legitimate studies from different perspectives.
I'm saying legitimate studies still have different levels. You know what a power ranking is? Legitimate studies have power rankings. So
yes, but you do not know if the study that I'm referring to, the Harvard study, is more powerful or less powerful than the one that you presented. So what I'm saying is, let's just give both. So
you don't know that the study. You don't. But that's not how that works. You don't know. You don't know the other studies. Well,
let's do this. Let's both evaluate both of them. Then we'll come back and say which one is imperfect.
100%.
But this is what I'm saying. You can say
it's not about imperfect. It's about who was more rigorous in their study.
If a person say that you're interviewing a person in this environment is not conducive for the best interview for therapists, and you're saying. And another study says, no, you can't interview a person in this environment. And you go, well, I get what they're both are saying. They both have credible research that they've done. But my experience is that when I interview people in this environment, I get good results. Like when people say, should you medicate a person with Percocet or should you medicate a person with this? There's holistic approaches and then there's medical approaches. At some point, you have to say, based on my information that I have derived from doing this for 20 years, this works, although this study is claiming that it does not work. That's a fair assessment.
That is not a fair assessment. You are using the word objective, but then demonstrating bias.
You have people that say that if a person can do a research on this. You can have a person that says you handcuff this way, which is the most appropriate way to handcuff without violence. You have another person that say, no, that's not the way that you handcuff. You can handcuff this other way. You can be subjective in the way you think handcuffing should be done in order to be the most efficient and proficient in what you do. Both could be accurate, but other people can prefer to do a certain act because they've done it for 20 years and it works.
So I want to move on to the next topic due to time, but I do not believe you are an accurate consumer of research, given the way you are describing research.
I disagree with you, and I don't believe that you're accurate.
Fair. That's fine. That is totally fine. I am happy to do exactly what you suggested. We will both consume research and then come back and say, here's what we found, and we can explain the research to one another. I'm happy to do that.
Yeah, that's be fair. All right, last question, and they get me out of here.
The last question. Are you familiar with the term internalized racism?
I don't know what the definition would be in a clinical way, but I can deduce what internalized racism would be. But
what would you say that it is?
I've heard people say internalized racism is. Well, let me let you explain it because I don't want to confuse or conflate two different things. But go ahead and explain it, and then we can talk about it.
So normally, people conflate the idea of internalized racism with self-hatred. And I have seen people say, and you alluded to it earlier, people say he hates his blackness. People say he hates his own skin, et cetera, et cetera. That's actually not accurate per the accurate definition of internalized racism.
Right.
Internalized racism is I've adopted the mentality and ideas of the colonizer. So a more accurate description of the word would literally be
let's
internalized colonizing.
Do you think that I fit in one of these statements.
I'm asking you, do you think you fit? Do
No,
you think that
no,
the
I
term
don't.
internalized racism towards you fits?
No, and I'm glad I didn't try to guess what the meaning was, because I believe I conflate the two. If you're saying that internalized racism is adopting the perspective of the colonizer, 100,000%, that's not my perspective. That doesn't apply to me. If you're saying that I have self-hate, no, 100%.
I did not say that.
No, I'm not saying you did. Let me correct it. If the phrase of self-hate is not applied to me either. So internalized racism and self-hate does not apply to me. So do you believe that one of those apply to me?
I do. I do believe the term internalized racism.
Now, we gotta. I know we run a long time, but like, you're saying that I have adopted the perspective of the colonizer.
Yes.
Give me an example. It got to be quick because I know we run a long time. Where would you derive that I've adopted the perspective of the colonizer? And can you explain real quickly who that person is or who that group of people are in America today?
I'll give you a very specific example. You said that you don't believe.
Family, you notice how this dude played dumb? Give me a perspective of who you think that group might be. Have you adopted the ideas of the colonizer? Come on, man. You know damn well you have. And I'll take it a step further. You do practice self-hate. There's no other way to explain it. When you do to your own people what you do, the way you throw your own people under the bus, the way you glaze white men, the way you swing from their disco balls, butt naked, with your tongue out, you absolutely are a self-hater.
Slavery stole money from the black community.
I did. That's not what I said. I said you cannot evaluate if slavery stole money. No, because if racism stole money, because money wasn't even on the table. It's not like slaves could even make money. So you can't say they stole something they never had a chance to make. That's what I was referring to. It's not like black people had money and then it was stolen from them when they were introduced into slavery, and then it could potentially have been given back to them. They never had the earning potential as being slaves. So nothing was stolen from them. Now, opportunities were not provided for them after slavery in an adequate way, but you can't say something was stolen that was never available to them.
So to be clear, you're saying black people never had anything, so thus it couldn't be stolen. Is that correct?
In slavery, the ones who were slaves, who was purchased as a slave, had nothing to gain or had nothing to, they had no possessions to hold on to because they were slaves. They weren't even considered persons, humans. They were property, like animals. They had no money to obtain or to give up or to relinquish. They had no choice in it. So that you can't compare that.
So again, I just want to be very clear on what I'm hearing. You're saying that slaves had no property, so thus it couldn't have been stolen.
Yes.
Okay. That is factually inaccurate. We know that from slave documents that they did have money. They were allowed at times to earn money.
Let's talk about it because I want to be very clear about this. I studied this in college. Now you're talking about, I'm perceiving the slaves that are on the plantation that were not able to work. They not like Harriet Tubman, who was married and she worked and she was married and her husband was a free black man. I'm not talking about Harriet Tubman. I'm talking about other slaves who were in slavery, who had no possessions of property. They were not allowed to work. They didn't work in the house. They weren't able to purchase their freedom. None of that. I'm talking about those people. I'm not talking about people who were house slaves, people who were servants in slavery, people like Harriet Tubman towards the end of her life, where she actually lived with her husband, who was a free black man and able to work. Some of her family members were free. And so I'm not talking about those particular slaves. So when you look at those particular slaves, some of which who were blacks who owned slaves, like I'm not considering those people. I'm considering the people who had no opportunity to work, therefore they had nothing to build or take away from.
So that I can be abundantly clear, I believe you're just demonstrating internalized racism, because when I said, I'm going to tell you, I asked you twice, can you be very clear? Are you saying this? And twice you said yes. And then when I gave you contrary information, you widened it. I'm not considering those kinds of
I widened it because I believe that the conversation needs to be deeper than the surface level. Did they gain money or not? Because there's different phaseology, there's different phases, there's different people that were in different phases of slavery. Slavery was not all one thing. There were people who were slaves who worked. There were people who were slaves who were given the opportunity to purchase their freedom. There were people who were black who were once slaves who then were free and then owned slaves. We can have a broader discussion about slavery. I'm saying the ones who did not have an opportunity whatsoever, that didn't even have a chance at having any possessions, could not have possessions taken away from them. If you want to go through black people in general, we have to then talk about black people who own slaves. We have to then talk about the first legal slave owner in American history, which was Anthony Johnson. We have to talk about all the black people who purchased their freedom and who also purchased other people's freedom in slavery. Those who never was a slave in the field. Those who always, in slavery had a different perception or a different position in slavery. So it's a dynamic discussion. Our premise was people who had absolutely no opportunity whatsoever should not be evaluated as the same as those who had opportunity. So the conversation was post-slavery. Focusing on after slavery was abolished, where do we go from here?
Respectfully, I don't see a point in talking about the details because you keep moving it instead of.
I'm not moving it. You want to broaden up the conversation. You asked me a very basic perspective.
Clearly, what did you say? You said yes twice, and then I said, "But what about this?" And then you moved it.
And then
fair question. How many times did Tatum cut off Nancy Grace? Not one time. So, did Nancy's status change the power dynamic here? What happened? What happened between the interview he did with Nancy and where Nancy was very aggressive and at times flat out disrespectful to him? Elliot, on the other hand, has been very even keeled, very respectful and accommodating to this dude. And he's being cut off time and time again. He's being disrespected. What's up? What is it about Nancy that Tatum loves so much? Okay, she's a nationally recognized legal commentator and former prosecutor with decades of television experience. Got it. Now, we know that Tatum really reveres people who have a lot of numbers, because let him tell it, he got like 8 million followers or something on social media. So he don't need to do these little platforms because it does nothing for him. Tatum is self-serving. So if a person has a small platform, a medium platform, or a large platform, if he goes on it, he's only going on there because there's something that he can gain from it. Whether it's somebody changing their perspective of him because somebody has a sizable enough audience of people that he would like to get in front of, whatever it is, he is searching for new blood. He wants to have more and more people find out who he is. He already got enough of the white wing conservative side of things. So he keep going on those type of platforms. He got them already. He's trying to extend the brand. Okay? So what I want to know is this. I want to know whether Tatum became more restrained because he knew challenging Nancy could backfire. So since we own Nancy, let's talk about Grace. If you could sit across from Nancy disagree with her, keep your composure, then clearly you know how to disagree respectfully. So why, oh why, Tatum, couldn't Elliott County get that same courtesy? Why not? Why? See, my problem is not with, it's not that Tatum disagreed with Elliott. My problem is he apparently knew how to turn the temperature down when Nancy Grace entered the room. See, he knew how to do that. He knew how to accommodate the white woman. Let's call it striking the ball a ball. He knew how to accommodate the white woman. But the black man, who he's actually more similar to than any of the two, got no grace, got no respect whatsoever.
I realize you want to broaden the conversation,
Okay.
so I broadened the conversation.
Fair. Due to time, can I ask you two more quick questions?
Okay.
One of them, are you familiar with the phrase moral disengagement?
Moral disengagement, no.
So would you acknowledge, regardless of whatever opinions you hold, you're allowed to hold whatever opinions you want, would you acknowledge that some of the messages that you present cause harm to people?
Yeah, no, we got to be more detailed. You saying emotional harm? You saying physical harm? Are you saying people are harmed unjustifiably? They consider to be harmed by what I say. So
I'm saying that your opinion can be your opinion.
I have no intent to harm people by what I say.
One second.
I have no intent.
I don't want to be overtalked.
And people should not be harmed by what I say.
I don't want to be overtalked, and I don't want to have to put you on mute. I think some of the stuff you communicate on the platforms you do causes harm to people.
In what way?
Emotional harm causes them trauma and stress to hear your message.
Okay, that's a personal thing that has nothing to do with what I'm presenting in my the way I intend to deliver it. It's not my fault that somebody's receiving personal harm in their own perspective because they don't like me saying that a black person was wrong. They feel harmed because I interview somebody. That's not legitimate.
It. No,
I'm saying these are the complaints that I'm hearing.
Let me ask you more specific question. If I presented you with evidence of a human being whose life has been harmed by the messages that you've put out, would you change or would you do anything different on how you're putting messages out?
Well, it depends because there's no intent for me to harm anybody.
That was absolutely excruciating. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good Lord. The disrespect. You would think like, okay, we should have, common respect for everybody, right? But especially for my brother. That's my brother. I'm gonna give anybody some grace. He gonna get it first. You see what I mean? Not Tatum. Elliott is a class act. And really, when I first heard about this, I knew he was going to dismantle Tatum. And I knew Tatum would pivot, switch it up, move the goalpost, avoid answering the questions directly, always pivoting, always putting a spin on something. He said, well, you trying to say that, I'm wrong because I tell black people. You notice he never say, you trying to say I'm wrong because I tell white people when they wrong? What? He never do that. He always got a collective insult, accusation or criticism or critique for black folks, but never, ever, 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 ever for white folks or any other folks. It's something mentally wrong with you to think that way. You got to be mentally ill to think that way. Going into the comments. What's up? What's up? Protected by God.
Willie D Live.
In on the Nolan Wells of it all yet because I'm still synthesizing the information. But I just watched a video. It was midnight. I just finished a workout and something clicked. I watched a video that made something else click that I watched earlier today, and that's this. The kid calls for a tow. The woman, Vicky, calls the captain to do the tow. And she says, this kid's grandfather, this Jerry Ackerman, is a member. Before she says the guy's name, the captain says, Jerry? I just got off the phone with him. I literally just got off the phone with him. And he said that they don't need a tow, that they're fine. So, hold on. The grandson is calling for the tow simultaneous to the grandfather calling the captain of the towboat saying they don't need a tow before the captain gets a call from Vicky. When did the kid call the grandfather? While the boat is sinking? He called grandfather for what could grandfather possibly do for you? He called the grandfather for what the fuck do we do? This kid's dead. Grandfather said, you got to make a fucking trail that you tried to get help. There was an accident. Something happened. The boat's going under. Okay, it's a boat. Call. So there is a recording of you trying to get help for something, and we'll figure it out later. I think that their story has evolved. But that was what the grandfather thought of then, to create a timestamp in history of what was happening, what they were doing, where they were, and that there was a completely different emergency happening, nothing to do with Nolan, okay? And the grandfather did not want to get billed for this tow, and obviously didn't want the captain to go and happen upon whatever the fuck's going on. So he preempts the emergency call to the captain and says, hey, you might get a call, but they don't need it. I walked them through it. It's fine. It was an alibi advised by the grandfather. You remember the Murdoch documentary series. You remember that, right? You remember when his son killed a girl in a boating accident, right? And how they completely jumped into action immediately without skipping a fucking beat to do a cover-up. they all get back, they all wipe all of, in unison, all wipe their social media. Why would you have to do that? Well, why the fuck would you have to do that? If you left him on the island, why are you deleting all of your social media? Another thing.
I couldn't imagine that they want to get underage drinking on camera. So what they had articulated to me that it wasn't abnormal for people not to snap and not to do a lot of pictures and things like that because they were focused on.
But you told me they showed you pictures and videos.
Yeah,
so
but
they
it's
did
not
take
uploaded.
pictures and videos.
No. It's not a lot of pictures and they weren't uploaded.
Shut the fuck up, Brandon, because he is spinning his wheels here, trying to convince Nancy that the boys were telling the truth. They let me see their videos on their phones. And that, of course, they wouldn't want to film themselves drinking. They all film themselves drinking. No, but they wouldn't upload it onto Snap. Here's why he just fucked up. The mother, one of the first days after this all happened, the mother said, we wanted his phone because he had snapped and we wanted to see the snaps that he had snapped. And the snaps were deleted. So she had seen his snaps. The whole point of Snapchat is that you are able to post things that maybe you don't want a record of, but at least everyone knew you were having fun. The stuff deletes. You know if someone screenshots it. So he had absolutely snapped. They wanted to go into his phone, into his account, because you can see your historic snaps, and those were gone. And today, Crump, the family via Crump, subpoenaed Snapchat and Meta. Why would they do that if they didn't abso-fucking-lutely see his snaps that those fucking kids deleted? And this fucking Brandon Tatum is helping them cover it up. Fuck you. Ew, Brandon Tatum. Anyway, those are my thoughts right now. I think it's obvious to us all what the fuck happened.
Too many questions, fam. Way too many questions. Before I go any further, salute to Sheila. That's attorney Sheila. She's a Florida attorney. And what she did just now, fam, was connect the dots. But still, there are too many questions, way too many questions, and not nearly enough answers. Every time it feels like we're getting closer to understanding what happened to Nolan Wells, another question pops up. You know what I'm saying? Like every single time. Now, what I'm here to talk about is not rumor. See, every rumor is not true. I get it. Every rumor is not true. My issue is that the unanswered questions keep piling up. Right? You know, I was about to say I'm not here to convict anybody, but I am. I want to convict somebody. I need to convict somebody. Nolan Wells deserves justice. Justice denied is one of the greatest travesties in life. For somebody to lose their life, or a human being to be murdered, to lose their life, and there not be justice, it's not just a stain on the person who murdered that person. It's not just a situation where this person was able to circumvent justice. It's the people who protect them. You know how wicked you got to be to try to protect somebody who is accused of murdering a child? Come on, fam, talk to me. Talk to me. I want to go back to the beginning. I want to go to Horn Island with Nolan friends. Let's go back to Horn Island with his friends. He go to Horn Island. He doesn't return with them. His family eventually learns he's missing. His body is later discovered. Okay? So the simple question is, how does a day with friends end with one friend dead and everybody else going home? Before I believe anybody's story, show me the GPS, show me the phones, show me the photographs, show me the videos. I want to hear what technology has to say. Yeah, I want to hear what technology has to say, because technology ain't got a dog in the fight. The stories matter. The stories do matter. People connected to events have now spoken publicly, and every new interview creates more. See, we need to compare these statements, get them all in a room, in their own individual rooms, interview each one of them, and then compare statements. I can guarantee you, I bet you $1 to a donut, the stories be all over the place. Now I get it, fam. Differences in story don't automatically mean that somebody lying, but significant contributions deserve explanations. Yeah, man. Yeah. Yeah. When I'm saying it was raining and you saying it was clear that day, or you saying it was snowing, it was snowing, snoring. If you're saying it was snowing and I say it was raining, that's a big difference, man. That's a huge difference. If you say it was, if I said, we drove somewhere and you say we walked somewhere, man, that's a big difference. We got to talk about that. I'm paying attention, man. I'm asking what has remained consistent from day one. A lot of inconsistencies, but what has remained consistent from day one and what hasn't, right? And what happened afterwards matters too. We talk about, okay, because right now it's everything is like, well, what happened before? What happened before? What happened? How that? This is what we was doing. We was doing this here. We was doing this. Okay, what'd you do afterwards? Once you've discovered that Nolan's body was dead, what'd you do? In fact, what'd you do when you found out Nolan was missing? What did you do? You deleted those social media accounts. You took his phone. You took his keys. You didn't call the parents and check on the parents or even ask the parents, were they okay, Yeah. I'm not going to only examine what happened before Nolan disappeared. I got to look at everyone's actions afterwards. Who called whom? When was Nolan's mother contacted? When was his father contacted? When were the authorities notified? What happened to the phones? Yeah, all of their phones, not just Nolan's phone, all of their phones. What happened to those phones? What about those messages, those photos, those videos? Yeah. See, sometimes what people do after something happens, it tells you why investigators need to look harder. Yeah. Everybody got a narrative now. Everybody got a narrative. Nolan's family has questions. His friends have publicly defended their version. Attorneys are involved. Content creators have theories. Social media has picked sides. The truth don't give a damn what side you're on. Truth don't care about none of that. Can't allow your suspicions to become evidence. I don't want the black version. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna call it striking the ball a ball, fam. I don't want the black version. The white version, the friends, the version, or the family's version. I want the evidence. I want the evidence. I don't want the white version. I don't want the black version. I don't want the friends version. I don't want the family's version. I want the evidence. What does the evidence say? What does the evidence support? We're talking about full transparency. If authorities have evidence supporting an accidental drowning, well, give it to us. Where's the explanation? Where's the explanation? That's what I need to know. If the evidence supports or points elsewhere, take us to it. Pursue it. See, transparency protects the innocent also. Transparency protects the person who is being accused. If you know you've done nothing wrong and you're being accused of something wrong, you should be screaming at the top of your lungs for transparency. Nolan's so-called friends should be just as hype to see the local authorities do something about this case as everybody else is. They don't seem to be anxious for the results, even though I believe that the results will favor them. But they're not like, hey, we want transparency. They see what we see. Where's the transparency? They see what we see. Where's the transparency? Where are they, where are the arguments on their end asking for transparency? Where are the arguments on their end challenging the state, the medical examiner, the sheriff, John Ledbetter, who said he didn't suspect foul play within an hour of the body being discovered? He never examined the body. He never read an official death report or anything, but he didn't suspect foul play. Why aren't they equally concerned about that statement? None of them has said anything about that. I mean, none of them. If Nolan friends had nothing to do with his death, a thorough investigation is good for them also, right? If somebody did something to Nolan, a thorough investigation is bad news for whoever did it, right or wrong. So why aren't they up in arms for demanding a thorough investigation, just like Nolan's family is, just like many people in the public are, just like a lot of content creators are, right? See, nobody should fear legitimate fact finding. Nobody should fear that. So if they do, then that's really telling. Sheila connected the dots, but the dots keep coming. There's more dots to be connected, right? Because now I want to be clear. Connecting the dots do not mean creating dots. Let's be clear about that. Connecting the dots does not mean creating the dots. You got to separate a witness's claim and what you suspect, right? We're not going to try to turn coincidence into evidence. But too much coincidence, they did it to themselves, right? It's human behavior, man. It's certain things that you do that's going to be consistent with guilt, even if you're innocent. If you do certain things, you're going to look guilty. Common sense should tell you that. Look, they got doctors and lawyers over there in their camp. They got judges over there in their camp. They should be able to be a bit more discerning, right? See, a lot of people are screaming, conspiracy. They need to be hit with a RICO charge. Look, I don't need a conspiracy theory. I don't need somebody to tell me who to blame. Give me the timeline. Give me the evidence. Give me the witnesses. Give me the truth. And wherever that truth leads, that's where I'm going. But what say you, fam? Drop a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. No more talk.
Guys, come on in. It looks like this note to it. Y'all, let's get into it. Okay. I am reviewing this particular video right here by Officer Race Batum Tatum. It is Nolan Wells' friends just answered the questions everyone was asking. Now, listen, we're going to get into it because you see this little comment right here, honey. Javon was in the comments. But let's get into what these lying friends said that had Javon heated to the max.
So I want to figure this out. Explain to me, because a lot of people are still online saying that they find it to be incredibly suspicious that Nolan left his phone. Can you explain, did Nolan ask you for his phone back when you guys were leaving? Was it not a part of the conversation? Was Nolan the only person that left his phone on the boat? Can you guys walk me through that idea?
So I can go ahead first and say, nobody has their phone in the water. Even when you jump in a pool, do you have your phone? Like, no, you don't. You're not gonna.
Nobody has their phone in the water. That is a lie right there. We saw people taking pictures in the water, but the fact that he wants to say nobody has their phone in the water, I'm always in water. And guess what? I have my phone.
Gonna bring your electronic in the water. So what everybody does is they stick their phones on the dash of the boat and they forget about it because you don't have good service. You can't even send a picture through from Horn Island to like somebody else. And so they put it on the phone. And even as teenagers, we don't really get on them. We go out there and we conversate and we see a bunch of people that we usually don't see on a day-to-day basis, that we graduated high school with, guys that graduated before us. You know, it's a big meeting, like seeing all your friends that you haven't seen in a while. And so whenever we were coming back in, he didn't even think about grabbing his phone. He never asked about his phone along with.
Who is not thinking about their phone? We have our payments in our phone. We can use our phone to pay different things. So the fact that he's making it seem like no one is thinking about their phone, listen, I go to the spa to relax. And that is where you should put your phone up. People do not, never depart from their damn phone.
With 5 other people that also left their phones on the boat, and we had to wait at the boat launch for them to come and pick them up, including Javon. I mean, Javon left his phone on our boat.
Okay, that's when the shit hit the fan. He said Javon left his phone on our boat. And baby, we finna get into what Javon said. Javon said, I was never on that boat. Dude, like y'all stop, bro. It's sick. I'm NGL. What does that mean? My phone was only placed on that boat. I literally rode with my parents and friends. What is Javon saying, people? What is really going on? This case is breaking down. We're going to rewind it again because Javon was not trying to hear that. And he said, stop lying on me. Stop the lies. I feel like, listen, everybody is going to start telling. If they think that they're going to get away with it, they ain't. You are not going to get away with it. Even Javon is sick of y'all lies. Javon said, stop the lies. Why would they say that Javon had his phone on their boat? Oh, they're trying to say, oh, another black boy had his phone on our boat and he's still alive.
With us 2 weeks prior to the 4th of July at Horn Island with no one out there. If we had any intention to hurt Nolan at the island, why would we do it on the 4th of July with thousands of people out there? I mean,
oh, that's, yeah, okay. So he said, listen, we were with Nolan on Horn Island a week before the 4th. If we wanted to kill him, why would we wait until the 4th of July? This, when people start giving you scenarios like this, that's how you know their ass is guilty, because this is not what people say. If you did it, you did it. If you didn't, you just didn't. You don't need to prove to us by giving us these weird ass white boy scenarios that we don't even believe.
It's pretty clear. We literally all went out there for my buddy's birthday, and Nolan was with a whole group of people like we were with on the 4th. So, I mean, that's.
Yeah, and it was on like a Wednesday.
It's not like
Nobody
this is.
was out
It's
there,
not like
yeah.
this is just like a random like occasion. No, we do this all the time,
yeah.
and not even just Horn Island, but Nolan's on the boat with us all the time. We all go on the boat. We all do things together like this. So,
I want to get to some pointed questions about the phone situation, because I think last time, Warren, when you and I talked or spoke, you weren't at the house when the phone was recovered. So I want to figure this out. Explain to me, because a lot of people are still online saying that they find it to be incredibly suspicious that Nolan left his phone. Can you explain, did Nolan ask you for his phone back when you guys were leaving? Was it not a part of the conversation? Was Nolan the only person that left his phone on the boat? Can you guys walk me through that idea?
So I can go ahead first and say, nobody has their phone in the water. Even when you jump in a pool, do you have your phone? Like, no, you don't.
Yes, there are many different cases, clear, plastic, waterproof. Yeah.
You're not going to bring your electronic in the water. So what everybody does is they stick their phones on the dash of the boat and they forget about it because you don't have good service. You can't even send a picture through from Horn Island to like somebody else. And so they put it on the phone. And even as teenagers, we don't really get on them. We go out there and we conversate and we see a bunch of people that we usually don't see on a day-to-day basis, that we graduated high school with, guys that graduated before us. You know, it's a big meeting, like seeing all your friends that you haven't seen in a while. And so whenever we were coming back in, he didn't even think about grabbing his phone. He never asked about his phone, along with 5 other people that also left their phones on the boat. And we had to wait at the boat launch for them to come and pick them up, including Javon. I mean, Javon left his phone on our boat.
Yeah, Javon.
Including Javon. Javon left his phone on their boat. That's according to them. That's not what Javon said.
Javon is one of the guys in the friend group.
Yeah.
If I'm not mistaken.
Javon's a friend of mine, friend of ours, like not as tight as Nolan. Javon's in the class under me in school, and he's a friend of mine. But just like a lot of our other friends, Javon's our friend. He left.
All right, let's get to the purpose of this video, guys. Let's get to the purpose of this video. Javon did not like those comments, guys. In fact, Javon has clapped back. And this is what he said. He pretty much called these guys liars. And he said, bro, y'all need to stop it. It's sick. Why would Javon say that? He's basically calling them a liar. Well, this, it's not like we didn't, already say that they were some damn liars. But what do you guys think about this? I feel like Javon may start to remember some things. Not only Javon, there's going to be plenty of people that's going to start to remember stuff. Because why did they have to lie and say, well, Javon left his phone on the boat as well. You know, Javon, he's still living. The Nolan Wells case is getting ready to break. Listen, we stand on their necks, okay? We are stand on their necks. Somebody is gonna break. Somebody gonna gonna feel not get guilty, but somebody is going to start to remember some things relatively soon. Relatively soon. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to share, subscribe, and
Stop. Black Americans are being hunted and murdered in Mississippi. I'm going to say that again because it's horrifying. And the mainstream media is too busy allowing the Trump administration to dominate the news cycle, lying about the economy, downplaying the war, ignoring the health outbreaks and the upcoming healthcare cuts to take even a moment to talk about the Black people being targeted for death in the state of Mississippi. And before you say I'm being hyperbolic about this, if we had this many unexplainable deaths of white children happening in one state, you know the media would be losing their collective minds. One beautiful white girl was killed by an undocumented immigrant, and the Republican Party ran their
Revolutionary salute to our family, Trill, Spill, Texas 6628 for the 1,000 Jews to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, soldiers. Salute.
entire election and then wrote an aggressive immigration bill in her name. But we are watching Black person after Black person after Black person lose their lives under unexplained circumstances, many of them being found strung up in trees, and no foul play is being called by the police or the medical examiner or any investigative reporters. I need you to stay with me on this because I understand this is very uncomfortable, but it is essential that we understand what is really happening, especially if you look like me or you live in the South or you have a family member or you yourself are in law enforcement. When someone Black ends up hung for no discernible reason in questionable circumstances with no indication the victim was suicidal, that's what's called lynching. But when this happens in a state that refused to pass a standalone anti-lynching bill in 2026, the state that didn't ratify the 13th Amendment formally abolishing slavery until 1995, 130 years after it was passed by Congress, and didn't even make it official until 2013 because of a clerical error. When this kind of thing happens in the state that recorded more lynchings than any US state between 1882 and 1968, with at least 581 documented racial terror killings, the only state that banned Sesame Street because they didn't like white and Black children being shown playing together, then you start to see a pattern and a major problem. The adults in charge of Mississippi seem determined to keep their generations of hate and division going strong, and people are dying because of it. We have endless media discussion and laws and attention paid to the 14 trans people who might want to play college sports in America. We have multiple made-up think pieces about the unacceptable rise of non-existent communism. But 10 Black people found hanging from trees in one state isn't a cause for concern? Why? We know why. And to be clear, it looks like at least 13 Black people have been found hanging from trees in this country since September 2024, most of them declared self-inflicted by authorities. But the Black community has been determined to point out that Black people do not hang themselves from trees, that historically, that is something that has been done to them. And we know that because one of the most recent deaths was Tysa Fortune, who was found hanging so high in a tree that the authorities needed a fire truck to get her down. It's pretty obvious that girl didn't do that to herself, but who did? Who would be able to do such a thing? And why did no one see anything? Because that's odd, right? Especially when we can track pretty much anyone anywhere now with those horrible flock cameras. But in this case, nothing. And when these deaths are ruled a suicide, or alternatively not foul play, no one ends up looking for the commonality between the deaths. Evidence isn't collected or compared. A pattern isn't established. If these hangings had been ruled murders or even cause of death unknown, then maybe there would be some progress in justice. But here, no, nothing. Remember, this is the same state, and in many cases, the same medical examiner who seemed incredibly cagey on the recent death of Nolan Xavier Wells, the brilliant, beautiful Black teenager who went missing and then was found dead after going out with his white friends on the 4th of July. The same white friends who came home without him, the same ones who can't get their story straight, and the same ones who one of their moms is a local judge. In fact, I think the country's preoccupation with the death of Nolan Wells is surprising to the powers that be in Mississippi, because Black people have been ending up dead in their state since forever, and things just move along, but not this one, because the world is watching this one now, and there's a lot more questions than there are answers. Mississippi needs to be on every American's radar because Black people are being murdered there, because there is no federal oversight on local law enforcement, because so far we don't even have media coverage or congressional action. As Reverend Whitfield of Gulfport, Mississippi, a very close friend of the Wells family, recently said, justice cannot thrive in the shadows. When an 18-year-old's life is lost under troubling circumstances, transparency is not a privilege to be granted. It is a public obligation. We owe Nolan Wells and his family and every citizen nothing less than a complete, impartial, and transparent investigation. Truth is the foundation on which justice stands. Every single person who ends up dead, no matter their creed, their color, their religion, whatever, deserves this kind of attention. It's just that Black people in Mississippi rarely get it, and none of us should be okay with that. There are people right now living among us who are lynching Black people. And if you know someone who is doing this, think someone might be doing this, have any information on what might be going on, then you need to speak up. And I understand that's hard in a state like Mississippi when it's often assumed that law enforcement and the justice system are complicit, but then go to the FBI. And I know the FBI is a shell of what it once was, but we cannot continue to do nothing. I would also like to remind you that in recent statewide elections, Democrats came within 3 percentage points of winning in Mississippi. Like many southern states, Mississippi is not red, it is blue suppressed, which means Mississippi is not irredeemable. But it needs our attention because this is what systemic racism looks like in practice. This is what happens when racism is built into a system brick by brick. And this is what must finally come to an end. The time has come to stop turning a blind eye. The time has come for justice.
Willie D Live.
In case you don't know, here in the state of Mississippi, we have launched a movement called Operation No Way. And you may be asking me, what is Operation No Way? Well, I tell you, what is Operation No Way? We, the Black community, have decided to take matters into our own hands. As Black, brown, and African Americans here, we can no longer trust the government to handle things for us. We can no longer trust the law enforcement to do what is right. So we will take matters into our own hands to protect ourselves and our children in a legal way that's peaceable unto all. And that way is, right now, as we're speaking, 75% of the Black, brown, and African Americans here in the state of Mississippi that has a 21-year-old son or daughter or older that is eligible to receive a permit and license to carry a concealed gun or weapon here in the state. We're in the process of doing that right now. Right now, we're in the process of picking up our children from college campuses and starting paperwork as you and I are watching and talking in this video right now. As you and I are talking right now, this is what is taking place. Right now, Bass Pro is selling out of guns. Right now, Walmart is selling out of guns. Right now, the gun ranges are filled with people right now that's practicing because we can no longer afford for our sons and daughters to go out unprotected. Not only do we believe in God and have faith in God and we walking right, we sure enough gonna walk armed this time. Not only will we have the shield of faith, the sword of the spirit, we're gonna have a gun on our hip just to make sure as we're walking with our feet shod the preparation of the gospel of peace among our citizens. We're gonna make sure we carry us a peace so we can protect our peace as it pertains to our family. So that's what's taking place here in Mississippi. And we're calling every Black, brown, African-American family to go. If your child is at the age of 21, your son and your daughter, they meet the qualifications by all means. Because I'm telling you right now, the pawn shops are selling out guns. It's just that serious. So in about 2 months from now, all of you that are watching this video, when you come to Mississippi, don't be surprised if you see a couple with the husband with the gun on the hip, the wife with the gun on the hip, the 21 and 22-year-old with guns on the hip. It's just that serious now. We're not playing no games. And we're calling it, as it has been declared, Operation No Way. Because there would be no way for what happened to Nolan Xavier Wells to happen again. We're not allowing it. So God bless you and keep you. Have a great day.
So basically what the good brother, Dr. Marcus Stiles, is saying is that he and many other Black folks are tired of waiting on justice. They're tired of waiting on protection. So they are going to take matters into their own hands. Now, I think it was extremely insightful. How about that? Insightful, the way that he used his words. He didn't say we're going to take the law into our own hands. He said we're going to take matters into our own hands. So before y'all start trying to say the man is inciting violence, let that be understood. What the man is saying, though, is that they are tired, sick and tired of waiting for justice. But here's the thing, the statement exposes something bigger. People are losing confidence in the system. Straight up. They're losing confidence in the system. When people repeatedly believe their concerns aren't being taken seriously, frustrations build. The real question should be, what happened to their trust? Who broke the trust? You know, a lot of people think that people that aren't Black, they're under the presumption that Black people don't like the police, just don't like the police just because they just don't like the police. Like they just wake up, ooh, the police, the authority, law enforcement, I can't stand them. No, the police has done a great job at ruining their reputation and causing Black people to not trust them, you know, because they be doing little stuff like, say, killing Black folks for no reason at all whatsoever. Killing Black folks. Yeah. They do stuff like, I don't know, plant dope on them, you know, ride through the neighborhood, harassing people all the time. I told this story before on the show, but growing up, I never saw a police officer wave in all of my years as a kid growing up in the hood. I never seen a police officer come by or pass me by and wave. I've seen it in the other neighborhoods, since, but I've never seen it. I had never seen it in my neighborhood. That is extremely telling. Like, a lot of these people, man, they just do not see Black folks. They do not see the humanity in Black folks. So therefore, it's hard for them to exhibit any themselves, right? People don't want special treatment. That's what y'all need to understand. Black folks ain't looking for special treatment. Most people are just asking authorities to arrest somebody. You know what I'm saying? They said arrest somebody. Not just because of social media, because of the evidence. Not just because social media suspects them. They're asking for the same thing every family deserves. A thorough investigation, right? Timely arrest, right? Like, put somebody in jail immediately when they do harm to Black folks. Like, go after it, go crazy. Go in and make a new law, like y'all do when Black folks harm somebody. Go in and make a new law. Just go in. Somebody do something to somebody. Oh, that we can't have that. Go in and make a new law overnight. Y'all know how y'all do it. We're looking for straight answers. That's it. Straight answers.
Revolutionary City Brother Vincent Brown Scott for the donation to the war chest. Revolution is a way of life. Absolutely appreciate the love, family.
Don't arrest somebody because they're white. Don't protect somebody because they're white. Follow the damn evidence. You did? That's all. Justice can't depend on your race, your family name, your money, your connections, your politics. You know what I'm saying? Justice got to be just justice. If the evidence says accident, demonstrate why. If the evidence establishes a crime, pursue it. Right? People aren't demanding a predetermined outcome. They're demanding confidence in the process. That's it. That's it. Law enforcement depends heavily on public cooperation, right or wrong. Something happens, what they say. See something, say something. They want us to see something, say something. They want us to help them with their job, even though they never help us with our job. They want us to help them with their job, and they don't want to split none of the money when they get paid. But they won't come help us with their job. Okay, I get it. I get it. It's community working together with law enforcement. I get it. It's a strange dynamic there, but okay, I get it. And by the way, we also pay their salaries with our tax dollars, right? But it is amazing how they get more protection under the law than we do. They go to school, they go to the academy for training, yet they're not held at a higher standard when it comes to conflict. They can pop off, they can kill somebody at the drop of a dime. I mean, just on a hunch that they was gonna reach for something. Like, imagine if we could do that, y'all. I thought he had a gun. I thought he was reaching, because police get off the hook all the time saying, I fear for my life. What if we could do that? That's why the laws need to be changed, fam. Because we can't do that. But they can do it just because they're the police. That need to change, man. I mean, now. They need witnesses. They need tips. They need people willing to talk. When communities don't trust the police, people start believing that the system works. That's dangerous, fam. That's dangerous for everybody. You can spend years telling people to trust the system and then get mad when they ask the system to show it works. Come on, fam. Transparency. That don't mean releasing evidence. that could compromise an active investigation. Transparency just simply means communicating enough to demonstrate that legitimate questions are actually being examined. Taking matters into your own hands. See, they're going to get offended by that. They'll get more offended and afraid of the brother Styles saying that they're going to take matters into their own hands than they would somebody illegally taking the life of somebody. That's very telling. But what I heard is the brother say it's time to organize. What I heard is brother say it's time to unite. What I heard is brother say it's time for people to be held accountable for their actions. What I heard is brother say, let's meet. Let's meet up. Everybody that's down, let's meet up. Let me show you how to protect yourself. File public records requests. Hire independent experts when appropriate. Right? Support legitimate legal efforts. Contact your elected officials. Demand independent review when justified. Document all the facts. Yeah. See, Black people just got to work harder to get justice. We can get justice, but we got to work hard at it, and we got to be kind of creative at times. Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Got to work hard at it, and we got to be creative at times. But justice absolutely needs to always happen. Justice denied is one of the greatest tragedies in life. It's one of the greatest tragedies. And by the way, I support responsible journalism. I support any content creator who is genuinely trying to get to the truth, not just clickbaits and all that kind of stuff, not just trying to make a lick, but genuinely trying to get to the truth because it matters. This, what's going on right now with Nolan Wells and so many other youngsters who've lost their lives, it matters that we get justice, because if nobody is held accountable for this, it will encourage others to do the same thing because they know they'll be able to get away with it. They'll be able to kill with impunity. We can't have that. There has to be a level of fear involved. And that fear needs to come from somewhere. Take it how you want it. No more talk.
Your Congressional Black Caucus flew to meet with Netanyahu in Israel one month before October 17th. How many of y'all know I talk about it nonstop? Your Congressional Black Caucus ought to be investigated. I believe all of Congress, starting with the Congressional Black Caucus, should be held accountable for crimes against humanity. Why is it? Let me tell y'all something. Before Trump got in office, do y'all know that Trump had a warrant out for his arrest? Because when he was president the first time, he was illegally and covertly killing other top government and military leadership brass. Do you all understand that a couple of Middle Eastern countries, like Iran, had arrest warrants out for Trump? How many of you all know that there's speculation that there are certain types of sanction against Marco Rubio, including some have speculated that some of the Asian countries have a warrant out for Marco Rubio's arrest? The reason why some of them are acting like that right now, they know their butts are in trouble and they're nervous that they're going to be drugged into an international court, or they may be captured by someone else that knows that y'all so-called elite, these neocons, these devils, the black state, whatever the hell other name you want to call them, even if you say they're lower on the totem pole, they're still a part of that infrastructure. They know that the global South and the global majority of people are going to ultimately end up prosecuting him. But I'm trying to say right now, why is it that there are not calls for that now amongst our own people? Because of the egregious nature of the credible information in these files that have been alleged. And not only that, the reason why I'm saying also the Congressional Black Caucus, there's a lot of more reasons than I revealed a couple of weeks ago here. But let me say something to you. Roland's name came up in the WikiLeaks years ago, connected to John Podesta's emails. Who is John Podesta? John Podesta was a part of Pizzagate when they were saying there was nothing to Pizzagate, meaning messing with the kids. That was Hillary Clinton's chairman of her campaign. And it was Bill Clinton, formerly Bill Clinton's chief of staff. And he was the head of certain PACs. And when those emails came, that was what was connected to Hillary Clinton, and Roland's name came up in it. Let me ask y'all a question. Do you think for 1 second that Angela Rye, who worked on Capitol Hill, do you think that members of the Congressional Black Caucus, and do you think that other Democrats had no knowledge that this was going on? Let me tell you something. As lawmakers, because what's happening in these Epstein files are not only national, but there's also international implications, I believe that we should be calling for them to be prosecuted. Since they're not doing the business of Black Americans, what the hell are they doing over there in Israel for? And did they pass sensitive information? How do we know that the Congressional Black Caucus was not passing sensitive information on behalf of Netanyahu, and lo and behold, magically 1 month later, October 7th happens? At a time when even Joe Biden was refusing to meet with Netanyahu because they was trying to put pressure on him to step down because he was putting their old diabolical genocidal nation in danger. They wanted him to step down because Netanyahu was too hot. Netanyahu has multiple criminal cases in Israel going on. He kept having that delayed. The Congressional Black Caucus, because Roland's name came up in John Podesta's emails connected to Hillary Clinton. That's how John Podesta's emails was hacked by WikiLeaks years ago. What may have Roland known about child trafficking? Do you know that as members of the media, members of government, members of Congress, those that are part of the lobbyist group, if they had knowledge, you all, of some of this that was going on, whether they participated directly or not, do you know they had a responsibility to either file certain grievances or to make complaints and to bring this up in a formal way? And if they failed to do so, on that basis, I'm saying we need to look into this legally. They need to be held accountable, prosecuted. And I'm saying to you, why y'all so silent? And why aren't there crazy demands day in and day out for agencies? And hell, even the military should be saying that because they were given these illegal orders and because of all this other stuff. How many of y'all know, I talked about this before, you better come to my private offline webinars. These are the kind of things I get into details about with major receipts. If the CBC even knew about this kind of stuff or heard about it, do you know that they had a responsibility to bring this up? Now, the Democrats are playing games with the Epstein files. All they're talking about is Trump is covering up, Trump is covering up, Trump is covering up. But there's a whole lot of Democrats in it. There are liberals that's in this. There are overlapping interests. There are spiritual people they were connected to. There are financial people that they're connected to that's in there. There are the Rothschilds that some of them were connected to. There are military folks that was in there that are connected to. Do you understand that this is the basis and this is the angle that we need to be dealing with as it relates to the CBC to put pressure on them because they're not doing the bidding of Black folks, but they're sitting here doing the bidding, as we need to say, of those pedos? And in what other ways did they help to cover it up? What else did Joy Reid know? What does Simone Sanders know? Kamala Harris, as a prosecutor, wasn't her specialty supposed to be in bringing criminals that violated children, holding them accountable to be prosecuted? Isn't that what Kamala bragged about, pretended like she was good at? So with an emphasis on that with children, didn't she? Where is Kamala's statement and Kamala's demand that she's going to prosecute every single pedophile that's brought up in the Epstein file if she runs for president again? And y'all know she's scaring us to death by saying she's gonna run. This piece from 2014 is the Associated Press release. Y'all see what that says there? California AG Kamala Harris to target crimes against kids, January 4, 2015. Y'all see that by Don Thompson? Y'all see that? She was just playing, because how many of y'all know they said back in the day she was covering up the pedophilia of the Catholic Church, right? Well, since the Epstein stuff come out, why don't y'all tell Kamala, since you so tough and you bragged as prosecutor, that was one of your specialties. Where is Kamala's platform at that she's going to look into all of the Epstein file stuff and prosecute every single one of those that have been credibly accused, at the very least? Here's the thing. We don't have to sit here and speculate whether somebody did something or not. The fact that they're not even talking about investigating those that's in that file ought to make all y'all concerned. The fact that they're not even saying, hey, well, we don't know if this is true or not. That's what you call an investigation. Investigation is supposed to tell us if it's true or not. We know it's something to it because we see other people around the world, people in Europe, they're prosecuting and they're arresting certain people. Even if it's a technicality related to the Epstein file, we know it's something to it. We know it's something to it because a whole lot of people in the United States have stepped down from all kinds of jobs. So we know it's something to it. But in order for us to validate for sure, you're supposed to be doing an investigation. That's what you're supposed to be doing, investigation. So we don't need to be sitting here speculating because you're supposed to be doing an investigation. And the fact that you're not calling for an investigation is very problematic. And Kamala, in order to run for office and to make herself look like she was tough, she claimed that she was defending and fighting and prosecuting people that violated kids when she was in California. But I haven't heard a big enough, strong enough her coming against this, bragging about this, her specialty as a prosecutor, and every pedo that she finds in the Epstein file, she coming for him strong. How come she ain't talking like that? Yeah, that's what we need to be doing, family. We need to be demanding that all of Congress, starting with the Congressional Black Caucus, need to be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. So whichever way you want to go with that, they need to be looked into for that. Yeah. We need to hold hearings and have investigations about what they knew and what they didn't know. That's what we need to have. We need transparency. We need Angela Rye and Tiffany Cross and them, Simone Harris, all them that had connections to media, Joy Reid, all them. We need to get them on board to say, I'm sure y'all agree that every pedo in the Epstein file should be looked into, right, guys? Y'all say it, right, guys? Don't even use the word Democrats or Republican. Just say Angela, Simone, Joy, you agree that every person that's accused of certain crimes in this Epstein files, they at the very least need to be investigated, right, Joy? Shouldn't we be holding public hearings, Joy? Right? Shalita said, right, guys? That's how we need to say it, right, guys? Look, y'all need to be tagging them and posting saying, surely, Joy, when you was defending Hillary Clinton and when it's credibly believed that you was directly connected to Hillary Clinton's campaign, most of the time you were at MSNBC. Surely she wasn't giving you talking points, Joy. But Joy, you believe they need to be looked into too. Nobody's off limit if they ate kids and violated them, right? Right, guys? Simone, you was deep in the White House. Simone, you never heard of any kind of rumors about this, did you, sis? Linebacker. Who thought she stood a chance in hell of becoming press secretary for Joe Biden? Linebacker. You never heard this before, did you? No, you never heard about this before, did you? That's our angle. In addition to us organizing offline, because I'm not going to tell you what else I believe we need to do online. So when I get ready to announce this year, when I'm going to be going to a couple of cities for my Vicky black town halls. Remember, I did one already in Chicago. I'm going to be doing a couple more. You need to show up there. We need to be ready to strategize about what we're going to talk about offline. I don't want to just hear about them investigate. I want to know about what we're going to be investigating. Yeah.
This restaurant keep getting bigger because of my money. No, I'm coming to eat a Carville. He bringing us up again in his mess, mentioning us. You know, we have the 2026 midterms coming along, and it's a new day. You know, we are definitely focusing on our community. We're focusing on our particular lineage, and we got to get something out the deal. None of us is opposed to voting, but voting is a right that we fought for, and we want something out of it. What's been happening with Black Americans, I want you to kind of picture it, you know, kind of like Sophia from Golden Girls, right? You know, picture it. Imagine a restaurant, right? And they had this one restaurant that white people said, nobody can come in this restaurant except white people. So we're like, wait a minute, you eating out that restaurant off of my money. This restaurant keep getting bigger because off my money. No, I'm coming to eat in that restaurant too. And I'm kicking the dough in because you eating up all my bag. So Black people fought, kick the dough in, and now they in the restaurant now. They can eat whenever they get good and ready. Is there still some battles? Yeah. But then check this out. This is what happened. So later down the line, after they passed the Hart-Celler Act, what ended up happening was all these other groups was allowed to come into the restaurant because Black people paid their way in, right? It wasn't meant for Black people paying their way into this particular restaurant. They would never have a chance to even eat anything at this particular restaurant that Black people kicked the dough in. Remember, in the beginning, white people said that Black folks or nobody could be in there but them. Then when these other people get in, right, when it's time to eat the food, they getting served meals while Black people sitting up there starving. And every time you look up when it's time to eat, Black people paying, but they're not eating no meals. And other groups are eating the meals and they're not even paying anything. And at the same time, these other groups was wagging their fingers at Black people, saying how come they got in that restaurant and how they come they do it, eat more than you. And yet you've been here for 400 years and you still fighting to get a piece of the meal. So the delineation movement say to hell with everybody. You got to go ahead and pay for your own food now. We're not paying for it no more. And now we actually eating. And they starting to deal with it now and say, hey, well, why are y'all doing that? That's divisive. That's this, that's that. It's everything else but taking personal responsibility for yourself. So in this day and age, Black Americans are saying we're not doing nothing unless we eat. Bottom line, we don't care what's going on. We have to benefit out of it some way, shape, form, or fashion as a Black person. And that's just what it is. It's not a fad. It's not a thing of the week. It's not the Jet Beauty of the week. You remember the Jet Beauty of the week back in the day. It's not that. It is the new standard operating procedure for Black Americans in this country. And it's really just self-respect and determination. Because if you don't respect yourself, see, for a long time, you know why people always say, well, you know what? We respect you more if you do so-and-so. You know why they would say that? Because we didn't respect ourselves. We let everybody walk all over us. Think about it. just admit it. Some people in your personal life, you may used to be a doormat and used to let everybody walk all over you. But then one day your mind snaps and say, wait a minute, hold the hell on. And you like, hey, nobody walking all over me no more. Nobody. And then you changed and everybody like, what happened to you? Why are you this way? You kind of mean now. You this and that. Like, no. I respect myself now. And guess what ended up happening? People start respecting you because guess what? You got boundaries. You letting people know how they gonna handle you. It's so much benefit to this, right? And I've seen beyond what I've seen so much positivity with this, not negativity. Only people who's talking about negativity is those who aren't benefiting no more off of the free meal. No different than the slave master. Remember, we became lazy when we started working for free. As long as somebody could benefit off of us, they happy and they find we the best people ever. But we saying, no, I'll work, but you're going to pay me. No, you're not getting nothing for free. Not no more. You're on your own. Deal with it. Double standards is not working no more. It's okay for you to have a flag. It's okay for you to celebrate your culture, your heritage, but it's not okay to celebrate mine. No. We all going to celebrate each other's culture and heritage. That's just the way it is. So we got to talk about Mr. James Carville because, you know, these folks are in the line of fire with all that too. You know, I know they made the conversation about, you know, different conversation with black people in the diaspora. And that's no. Them folks is concerned about this too, because they built their whole, I think the Democrat think tanks have a whole strategy of minority coalition. They need us to be not centered in who we are. They need us to be just a people without a place, without our culture, being told you don't have a culture and accepting that crap. They need that. They need coalition politics so they can benefit. And delineation has been messing them up. And that's the part I love the most. Because to me, if you're not disrupting the power structure, you're not doing nothing. That's how I look at it. So we'll get to that shortly, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you for joining us on Kick. Shout out to the people on Kick, Facebook, and we also are on TikTok tonight. We are a news channel app. It's in the Google Play and Apple App Store. $9.99 a month, ladies and gentlemen. It is less than a combo meal now, right? And it's only one time. It's not every week, every 2 weeks. It's once a month, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so let's go on and let me check in with y'all here in this chat room over here. I see some of y'all have joined. Shout out to the people I'm looking at on TikTok. I see Beverly and Vaz and all kinds of people joining in here. And shout out to the regulars like Lisa Parker over there and King Noble and the different people I see all the time. All right, so let's roll this real quick, ladies and gentlemen, and we will get this thing started. And let's have a good time.
What if I told you there's a news platform made just for us, unfiltered, unapologetic, telling our stories from Africa and the diaspora?
We're here, ladies and gentlemen. We always want to learn something. All right. So let's go ahead and cue up Mr. Carville, and let's go ahead and have a conversation because he's bringing up some things. But speaking on us on their shows, right? We're not even in the room, not even inviting us to be in the room. But let's go ahead and cue up Mr. Carville here, and we talked about him before. You know, he's a Democrat. Okay, hold on. We don't. Let me check something out. I don't like this on TikTok. Give me a second. I didn't think people can just come up like that. Give me a second. Hold on. Maybe I said something wrong. Give me a second. I'm gonna have to fix this a different way here. Let's see here. Y'all give me a second. All right, y'all. Let's go ahead, Mr. Carville here. I'll figure that out here later.
The blacks don't buy your shit.
No, by the way, they're not voting for any of these DSA candidates. Neither are the Latinos.
Is screw the blacks out of the nominating process because they know they can't win South Carolina. Black folks, or listen to me very carefully, are the most loyal part of the entire Democratic coalition. If you disrespect them, they know it. And a Democratic Party can never show any distance between itself and black voters. And it gets to the point that the progressive want to disrespect people. They're going to understand that, and you're going to lose a constituency that has stuck with you for the last 70 years.
And the black voters have not been voting for these DSA candidates. They're doing terrible. The entire working class is not voting for them.
All right. So y'all heard what was going on there. And hold on, I just fixed up on this thing, y'all, because people just jumping up on here. I'm sorry about that. We want to get this right on this platform. All right. So let's go ahead and start it again, and let's stop it like we always do.
The blacks don't buy your shit.
No, by the way, they're not voting for any of these DSA candidates. Neither are the Latinos.
Is screw the blacks out of the nominating process because they know they can't win South Carolina. Black folks, or listen to me very carefully, are the most loyal part of the entire Democratic coalition.
All right, so let's start off with the Democrat socialists. I see some people talking about them and Mamdanis and all these other things they got going on. A couple of them are winning across the country or whatever. Here's my issue with these Democrat socialists. The Democrat socialists are nothing but offshoots of Bernie Sanders who are younger people. What is the main thing we talk about when we mention Bernie Sanders? Come on, y'all. We've been talking about Bernie Sanders for years. He's a whole working class and the top and all the things. But what is his Achilles heel when you approach him? What is it he do not want to talk about? What is it? Well, come on, we've talked about this, ladies and gentlemen. We've talked about this for years. What's I'm gonna say two subjects that he refused to talk about. What is it? On YouTube and TikTok, what is the two subjects that he refused to talk about? Strong Shoe got it down there on TikTok. And King Noble on YouTube, I see you the first person that said it. Reparations is one. What's the second thing that Bernie Sanders refused to talk about? Okay, yeah, we got it. What's the second thing he refused to talk about? It's two things. Come on. Now, especially y'all on YouTube, y'all should be quoting this quicker than anybody else. Y'all hear me every night. Y'all know what Bernie Sanders refused to talk about. Reparations is one. What's the second thing? It has nothing to do about no police. What's the second thing he refused to talk about? Now, I know I'm not the only one that know this answer. Okay, well, since I got to say it, race. He does not want to discuss race, and he does not want to discuss cash payment reparations. On The View, he flat out said, when he was asked verbatim about cash payment reparations to Foundation of Black Americans, he said no. When we talk about race, he don't want to talk about it. He said, oh, working class, this and that and the third. And if you can't talk about race, you can't talk to me, because race is a major thing for my community because we've been the most harmed by it. Cash payment reparations is another thing that we have to talk about. If we got money for war to be doing all this war in Iran and you can't do reparations. No, I said a long time ago, the reason why they don't want to do reparations is not they ain't got the money. They have the money. Look at during the pandemic with the CARES Act. They put out trillions of dollars in the U.S. economy. And it wasn't no study. It wasn't no panel. It wasn't, you had to go talk to this one and that one. They just got together and do it. They don't want to do it because of anti-Black racism. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. It's nothing more and nothing less. It's anti-Black racism. And because it's anti-black racism, and you better understand is that, and like, don't even engage in conversation with them folks about any of that. I've always told you that's a waste of time. I told you, even engaging in conversation with them is a waste of time because they're not speaking to you in good faith. They're not speaking to you in anything to fix it. They just want to have you like basically like a little. My little girl got a little dwarf hamster, right? And Hammy is her name. Hammy be on that wheel all day long. Just on that wheel, and it won't stop. That's what they want. Talking to them was like that little hamster on that wheel. You're going nowhere. You look like you're moving, but you're not going nowhere. So for me, I don't waste my time talking to them about reparations or talk to them about even racism because they're not serious about it. And I understand it's part of the culture at that point. So, and I told you about culture. When you practice something from 1800, 1700, 1600, you in 2026, high technology era, you didn't live that. You didn't grow up in. The only people who really have an excuse, I say a small excuse, is those baby boomers, right? If you're not a baby boomer, if you're Gen X, if you're a millennial and Gen Z, and you still on some quote unquote racism, you have no excuse because you didn't grow up during the civil rights era. You didn't grow up in the 50s. You didn't grow up in any of that. No, people that still anti-black and racist because of that is because of culture. Culture is what you pass down to your children. And they pass this down from children, and they keep passing it down. This is why you see the stuff going on to this day, even with the young ones, is because it's a culture. It's not, people aren't born that way. They're taught that, and it's a cultural thing. Anti-black racism is cultural, and it don't matter what country they from, it's part of the culture. It don't matter what language they speak, it's part of the culture. It don't matter what religion they practice, it's part of the culture. That's why I don't get into that religion conversation. Oh, well, he's of this religion, and oh, it's this group of people, that religion. No, it's your culture, it's white supremacy. And I'm not gonna sit here and argue about your languages, your nationalities, or anything related to your religions, because I can find the exact same behavior in any religion that you have been practiced. It's not the religion that's the problem, it's the culture. Now, Mr. Carville here says that black people won't, so that's the biggest issue with the Democrat socialists. So Democrat socialists, I know you're listening. You don't talk to black Americans at all. You don't. You think you're going to just win a lot of, you may win in some areas, you may, but you think you're going to win and not address that issue? That's not going to really happen. And it's not that black Americans are for the establishment, no. But the fact is, the established candidates know I better address that issue. I better say something. You can't get in with this working class stuff. That's not going to work. What is a working class? Define that. What is working class? What does that mean for FBA when you say working class? What does that even mean? How does what you talking about benefit FBA in particular? Because that's what we at with it. We're like this. What are you going to do for us? I don't care about all that other stuff you're talking about. What you going to do for our community? Because you want our vote. So what are you going to do? We're listening. We're listening. We're in the era of transactional voting. We will vote, no problem. But we got to get something out the deal. And if we're not going to get nothing out the deal, then don't expect us to do certain things. And I'm telling you, yes, black people who will vote probably majority Democrat. Black people are not going to wholesale go vote in Republican. That's not going to happen. It's going to be a small set of black people always vote Republican because they're well off financially. Most of those people are well off financially, or they're immigrants. Probably more so immigrants than anything else. Because a lot of black immigrants like Chef Creole over there voted against his own interests, and it hurt his Haitian community. People like him, I wish they disaggregate and to tell us what flavor of black is voting. I like to know. I mean, it's good just for us to know. But anyway, continuing. If you're not going to address race, then you can forget it. I don't care what Mom Donnie does in New York. If he does great, fine. I don't have nothing against him. But New York is a little easier for him because that place has been flooded. You know, if you know anything about New York City, you already know. I ain't got to go there. But let Mom Donnie come down to a place like Houston or Atlanta or whatever. Oh, you got to start talking about some racing, buddy. Come down here to the South. You don't have to. So if somebody not telling me about race, how you going to eliminate that? And listen, it's not that black people want to talk about race all day. Black people want to move on. We want to move on away from that crap. We would. Hey, look, I'm ready to move past race today. I don't know no black American that want to keep talking about race all day or race issues. Trust me, I'm tired of it. Be honest with you, I'm so sick of hearing about racism. I'm sick of seeing anti-black racism. I'm tired of reporting on it. I'm being honest with you. I'm tired, and most black Americans are tired with me. But the reason why we have to talk about it and bring it up is because you guys, and you know which ones I'm talking about, y'all, the folks, y'all won't let it go. In Brooklyn, Maine, down there say, but they won't move on from it. No, they won't move on from it because it goes back to what I said earlier in the programming. It is a culture. That's why they can't move on from it. You can't move. Look, it's like telling black people, black Americans in particular, move on from soul food. It's part of the culture. It's like telling a Ghanaian, move on from jollof rice. It's part of the culture. Anti-black racism is part of the culture. They can't move on from it. I've accepted that. I understand that. That's the only reason we have some things we have is because we had to force them to do it through laws and uprising. If we would just left it alone and left it up to them, it'll still be the exact same thing as it was in the 1950s. Well, actually, it'd be worse if we didn't confront that as a community. Now let's get back here to Mr. Carville.
If you disrespect them, they know it. And a Democratic Party can never show any distance between itself and black voters. And it gets to the point that the progressive want to disrespect people. They're going to understand that, and you're going to lose a constituency that has stuck with you for the last 70 years.
James, hold on, James. Here's the thing. The progressives didn't disrespect black people like that. And hear me out what I mean by that. The establishment wing disrespected black Americans. You know how you disrespected black Americans? Because Joe Biden wasn't a progressive. Not at all. During the last administration, Joe Biden administration, right? What were y'all doing to black neighborhoods, black communities? What were y'all doing to black Chicago Democrats? What were y'all doing? Disrespecting black Americans. With y'all Mayor Brandon Johnson. What were y'all doing up there in Chicago? The Biden administration was flooding Chicago, a great city with great black people, flooding that city with a bunch of military-age males from all these different countries. You put them in these cities. Chicago had closed 50 schools. And when people in the neighborhoods were saying, hey, man, instead of having these schools closed, let's have community centers. I remember Brother Tyrone Muhammad, and shout out to him out there in Chicago. He was telling me, hey, we asked them so many times, well, while we got these abandoned buildings, let's turn this into community centers, job training centers, something good for the black community so we can do something. No, the city of Chicago, no, which ran by Democrats. But when the time for the immigrants to come in, that came in through Joe Biden, they had no problem opening up those schools and making shelters for the immigrants to go to. But we have foundational black American men, women, and children who's on the street homeless, veterans, it don't matter what community they come from, veterans on the street homeless in Chicago, they can't get in these shelters, but you got people that just showed up yesterday, show up in a shelter in an American city. And I told y'all, and I'm gonna repeat myself again, I never talked about immigration at all these years that I've been doing what I've been doing. But what changed me to talk about immigration was Chicago. Because some people may be new and they may not know this story. So me and my wife had went to Chicago. We was going to take some time, spend time with each other. And we went to Gordano's. Y'all know about Gordano's Pizza. My wife never been there. I wanted to take her there so she can have that deep dish pizza because, we don't really get that sort of type of pizza down here in Houston. And we left. We'll go walk back to our hotel, and then we looked, and it was like close to 50 degrees. We was dropping out there in Chicago. And I say, is that somebody in there? And like little tent, and we had a full pizza, right? And I said, hey, I looked at it, I said, it's somebody in there. And I saw how young she was. And I say, hey, sister, you all right? You hungry? You want some? And she came out and she's like, oh, what you got? And I'm like a pizza. I say, you want it? And you say any meat on it? I said, no. Like I said, it's a full pizza. Only one was taken out. And she was so happy to take that pizza. She was. And then it bothered me because she reminded me of my grown children, right? And then we went right next door to Gordano's. They had this little dessert spot, and I had got a hot chocolate. My wife got a hot chocolate, and we ended up buying her one, like a tall one, like I think it was like 24 ounce. And so I was like, hey, sister, you want a hot chocolate? What else? She was so happy about this. And when I saw that, I got angry. I never got that angry before in my life about something. And I say, Brandon Johnson is in this city putting up these migrants who chose to come here. They got their own homeland. They're not fleeing war. They chose to come here. While we got young Black American women and men and children on the streets. Then from that day on is when I start going heavy about Chicago and talking about Chicago. And we always talk about Chicago, right? But that's when I started talking about Chicago heavy and Brandon Johnson and the Biden administration, what they were doing, dropping all these people off in Eric Adams. They were dropping all off in his city at the time. He was the mayor of New York. They got to the point they was talking about their cultural meals and they didn't want what Eric Adams and they was giving them. And I mean, they got arrogant. And Eric Adams didn't ask them to drop them off in New York City. He had enough going on at the time. And I want y'all to pay attention to something talking about disrespect. Eric Adams was cool with the Democrat Party until he spoke out against that. When he started saying, hey, man, they can't come here like this. We can't be feeding everybody. Oh, that's when the Democrats turned on Eric Adams. All of a sudden, he started getting investigated. Remember, he got investigated underneath the Biden administration, not Trump. Trump actually the one got him out of it. It left up to the Democrats. Eric Adams will be in prison right now. And that's a fact. So you talking about disrespect? They've been disrespecting. They don't want a Black American speaking up for the truth for Black Americans or just what's right. They want you to be a bootlick, don't say anything, don't do anything. That's what they want in that party. And if you're not doing that, then you're a problem. And we got to get you out of office. Prime example. Boule Martin. Can I talk about Boule Martin for a minute? Boule Martin said to through his lawyer to Tasha K that was been going on for a hot minute. That was nothing new. But all of a sudden they put this stuff out that he's been dealing with for a couple of years. Whatever he does, like I said before, his personal life between him and his wife and whoever else he do things with has nothing to do with us. But when Roland was talking about the couch, when Roland was talking about, well, you got to do something. And yeah, we'll sit it out. And when Roland started talking like us, all of a sudden, this threat about pictures and everything else came out. Same pattern like Eric Adams. He starts speaking against that illegal immigration. All of a sudden, he getting raided and investigated. Trust me, I'm a pattern recognition man. I look for patterns all the time. And the same pattern is, you better not get out of line. But they're not gonna really have you around them unless they got something on you anyway. And if you're too clean, you won't be around them, because that's how they keep you in line. Hey, I got these pictures on you. Hey, well, I know what you did with that money over there. So if you don't want me to sit up there and turn you in or go and put this case on you, stay in line, be quiet. Who want to be around a group of people like that? That's some old mafia tactics. So no, sir, they've been disrespected, Black Americans. You got money for migrants, but you don't have money for reparations. That's why y'all don't understand. Listen, Donald Trump is the president right now, and I keep saying this, not because Black Americans went in mass and voted for that man, because that's further from the truth. He became president because of what the Democrats did by flooding this country with all these migrants and putting them in American cities and taking resources. That's what happened. So a lot of our people sat it out. They didn't go vote Trump. They really didn't. Some maybe voted for him a little bit more. And some did vote for him in places like Chicago and other cities who were suffering because of that. Some of them did. They did. But the majority of Black people didn't vote for that man like that. So now, when you talk about being disrespectful, don't do that to Black people. And I'll be honest with you, if Trump, I'm keeping it real, if Trump didn't get us in a war and causing so much economic suffering right now, if Trump would have repeated what he kind of was doing the first time, they wouldn't even have a chance to win in the midterms. But Trump kind of messed off everything with himself. He let Stephen Miller in the game kind of take over. He got involved in a foreign war. He promised something he wasn't going to do. You know, so a lot of people, even a lot of Republicans are pissed off at him because of that foreign war stuff. And it's a mess. It is an utter mess that this country is in. We didn't get the country in a mess. So that's the only thing I say. You know, when y'all talk about the economy and stuff like that, you can never blame FBA because we don't mess up America. I told you a long time ago, and I say with my full chest, if we were running the country, this country would be rich. You know why? Because we got to be 10 times smarter than them on a good day to get a job. That's why. So our best and brightest are truly the best and brightest. They trained us to be better, to get a mediocre job. So you put FBAs in charge who aren't full of corruption. Because you say, well, what about those Black mayors and those Democrats? Listen to what I said. They're controlled. They get out of line, it'd be some pictures on them too. Hey, well, you know, I know you like, I know that club you be going to. I know you be chasing pussy out here, so you don't want everybody to know that. Keep voting for the immigration. Keep voting for this, that. Well, you better not do nothing for Black people. Because what I told you, in order for you to be a politician in the Democrat Party for Black people, is you can't punish white supremacy and you can't exclusively do nothing for Black people. If you do any of that, they got something for you. And yes, Brooklyn, Maine is right. We would not oppress anybody. We wouldn't go start no foreign wars. We're not trying to steal resources from nobody. And I'm gonna say a foundational Black American. I'm not talking about an Obama, because Obama, let's call it what it is. He wasn't raised like us. Obama had a Kenyan father. And listen, if he was raised Kenyan, it would probably be a little different, maybe. But he was not raised with his Kenyan father. He was raised with his white mama, his white grandmother. That's why at times he frustrated us a lot, is because you understand that man is white in the mind in a lot of ways. It's just the way he come across, how he talked to Black people at times. It's almost like how a white man would talk to you. We have not, in the first one who called it out was Morgan Freeman. And people got mad at the time when he said it. He say, we've had our first biracial president, but we have not had our first Black president. And people are like, what you mean? He's Black. But now we fast forward today, we have not had a foundational Black American president. We had a foundational Black American first lady. We've had that. But we have not had a foundational Black American president from the soil who's been here since the beginning of this nation, who grew up in the crack epidemic, who grew up the way we grew up, right? Suffering the way we suffered, I'm not saying he didn't deal with racism. He did deal with a lot of racism in his. And what disappointed me the most about Barack Obama, we caught hell because of him being in office. And yet he didn't clamp down on the police like he should have. He could have dealt with a whole lot of these issues. And he didn't. Then you see Trump get in office. Trump is doing whatever he want to do. Like, really? Obama could have did the same thing? Now, Obama, his thing was DACA, putting the LGBT flag on the White House. Every time somebody came, decide to what they want to tell everybody the world about it, he calling them on the phone. Like, bro, like we got a lot of issues in this country, in Black America for sure. We were catching hell because of him being in office. We caught hell those 8 years. I remember because I was reporting the news. 8 years, we caught hell from the police. We caught hell from the regular anti-Black racists. We caught so much hell. And we had to even defend him because they was all the racism they did toward him. So we couldn't really check him like we should have when he was in office. Then only people that was really calling him out at the time was Tavis Smiley and Cornel West was calling him out. And Black folks got mad, but now in the hindsight, Black folk people look back today and say, "Oh, Tavis was right the whole time." King Noble said Club Bussy. Oh God. Don't say that, King Noble. Don't say that because somebody go actually go create that. And because people look, we live in a land of no morals. People would do anything these days. Oh yeah, that's for sure. Valerie say that Oreo syndrome. Yeah, that Oreo syndrome is right. Is right. That's for sure. But they've been disrespectful. But now we are check disrespect. It don't matter where the disrespect is coming from. It don't matter it's coming from the folks. It don't matter it's coming from Asians, Latinos. Look, the Asian community got on TikTok in particular. Shout out to TikTok. And what did the Asian guy do? Disrespect us. How do we respond as Black America? Wealth transfer. That's how we responded. And they are closing their businesses left and right because we started a wealth transfer. And it happened because of disrespect. And a lot of them are mad about, well, why are they not coming to my store no more? Holler at your man on TikTok. He deleted his profile. I'm pretty sure he deleted his profile not because Black people looking for him, because other Asian people looking for him right now. Because he done messed off their bag. They had a good thing going until he got on that TikTok run off at the mouth. Now I say this, people on TikTok, watch your mouth talking to Black people because we're not divided like other Black groups are. Listen, on the African continent, they got 54 countries and they are not on code with each other like that. They not even on code like that within their own homeland. They got all these different tribes going around, they cannot unify. But the thing about us, and even Africans have told me this, is that y'all the most united Black people I've ever seen. Because we didn't have the luxury to divide like that. We had to stay on code with each other. And we will unify like this on you so quick. And I tell people, when Black people cancel you, you truly cancel, and I'm going to tell you why. We are so long suffering with people. We give people a million chances to get it right. And when Black people say, okay, that's enough, that's it, you don't come back from it because Black people can sleep well at night knowing that they stood up for you, fought for you, gave you grace, spent trillions of dollars at this point with you, but billions at the least each year with you. And this is how you're going to repay Black people? By talking crap on TikTok? Okay. That's cool. And what I love about a wealth transfer, nobody can do about it. Who you gonna tell it on? They won't go spend their money with me. It's not a crime. I don't advocate for crime. I want black people to be the most peaceful people on the planet Earth. The most peaceful thing you could do is take your money away. Nobody can force you to buy with anybody. Peaceful thing you can do, you can vote. You can come in and vote your interest. Because I teach people this: vote your interest. Sometimes you don't vote party, you vote interest. Always remember that. Interest. Okay, we vote for the Democrat. This Republican is in our interest. We vote for him or her. It don't matter about a party. It matters about our interest. That's it. What tangible thing we're going to get out of this transaction? I do not advocate for political parties because now one of them is good for us. So we need to be black independent. And the more and more we're that way, that's why they feel they're having to fight for the black vote now, because it's not guaranteed like it used to be. And that's beautiful. That's good. MJ fan, you said that you had no idea all these people come here. And well, you have to understand, by going to the African continent myself, MJ fan, I would say this. This is an issue within their homeland. And we never understood, we never could relate to that. Because in America, the white supremacists never would allow us to do that, to break off in all these little cliques and all that. No, we had to stick together to survive. And when you have countries where you have 8, 9, 10, 20, 30 different ethnic groups, and nobody's on code with each other in the same country, and they don't like each other. You have people in Nigeria of different tribes. You may have Igbos that may not like Yoruba or Fulani or whatever, and they're in the same country. They all Nigeria. So when they come over, not all, and I would never say all because that's ignorance, but when some of them come over, they bring that failed tribalism with them. And I call it failed because if it was working, it would have worked in their homeland. So they bring that failed tribalism with them, and then they separate themselves. And then because of doing that, which has been very fatal to do that, now ICE know exactly where to go to get you. See, if you'd have integrated into the Black American community, we wouldn't have told you couldn't practice your community, practice your religion, practice your language. We would have never told you that. Make your restaurants, make whatever. Understand what I'm saying? But when you separated yourself in these little communities, ICE know exactly where to pull up and go get you at. See, if it's actually within the greater Black community, they would have a little bit more harder time to get at you. Another thing, some of them were saying, well, don't marry these Black Americans. Okay. Well, maybe if you were marrying Black Americans when you got here, or at least with time, you'd be citizens. You wouldn't be dealing with this issue. But it's okay to bring home a white guy, though. Or a white woman. You can do that, but not a Black American. So what I'm saying is that's backfiring. And of course, once again, even though I'm repeating myself a million times, it don't matter. Somebody just will not listen. I don't care, but I have to do it because I'm on record saying what I'm saying. Not every person did that. Not every person feel that way. But those who have felt that way and have practiced that, that's who I'm speaking about only, okay?
Coffee. Follow me.